not just a house, it's a home, and it's part of the neighborhood, and of course part of the community. And you want to build stuff that they'll take pride in.
Well, that's where they're making their memories.
Yeah, that's right.
That's where they're raising their families.
Without the bank getting us to that next step, we can't do it.
It's nice to be able to call someone at the bank and say, hey, you've worked with us for all these years. This is what we're thinking about doing. Can we pull the trigger on this today? Oh, my stars. It is just so much easier to bank with First Community.
A properly graded field is not only important for player safety, but also the field's health, and no company in the state matches the exceptional service and dedication like our friends at Athletic Field Service of Arkansas in Sherwood. From servicing all types of natural grass athletic fields that includes aerating, top dressing, and phrase mowing to a variety of residential projects, Jeremy Rice and his crew have you covered. They also offer an extensive list of infield renovation services. Call Jeremy at 501-416-1218. That's 501-416-1218 for your free evaluation, and check them out on Facebook or see what they have to offer online by visiting afsofar.com. Athletic Field Service of Arkansas, we got the dirt on your infield.
I started Arkansas Prep Sports in 2015. Saw a little niche where, there were student athletes in the state of Arkansas that needed to get that promotion to try to get to the next level. In fall of 2017, I had someone by the name of Kevin Miller just reach out to me out of the blue. We instantly hit it off. Kevin had just started his sports media company, BM Sports Report. The BM stands for Big Miller. If people didn't realize that, that's the reason that we call the Big Miller Media Days. This was Kevin's idea. Kevin saw what other states were doing in the high school sports world with media days. It was just an extra opportunity to promote teams, coaches, and players in front of a statewide audience. Kevin and I hit off right off the bat. We spoke on the phone at the beginning in the first few years, a few times a week. Then it was every day. Then sometimes multiple times a day. As a matter of fact, when my phone would ring, my wife would say, "There's your boyfriend calling you." Kevin and I went on multiple road trips. We ate at Popeye's Chicken all the time. I missed those road trips with Kevin when I would look over and he'd be asleep about 30 minutes into the trip and snoring, and missed those greatly. A lot of the ideas that we do in the high school sports world were Kevin's ideas. A lot of people have kind of started to mimic a lot of the things that we do. Kevin was the reason that I was able to meet and work with a lot of people in the high school sports world, such as Nigel Wright from COE Films and Nick Winger and Kyle Sutherland and people at Natural State Sports, amongst lots of other people that I've met. Kevin wanted his sole purpose. He just wanted to promote Arkansas high school sports athletes. We all miss him. He left a huge hole in the high school sports media world that we are all trying to fill. And it takes a lot of us to fill one role by one man. And Kevin wasn't just one man. Kevin had a great family that he left behind. His wife, he has a son and a daughter. We in the high school sports media world started a trust fund for his family. I would invite anyone at any time to drop by any First Community Bank and donate any amount of money, whether that's $1 or $50, to the BM Family Trust. And Kevin's wife hasn't used that money yet, but her goal is to use that money to help send her kids to college. I miss talking to Kevin. We all miss talking to Kevin. If you knew Kevin, he made you feel like you were his best friend, when in reality, he had 20 or 30 best friends across the state. I miss talking to him on a daily basis. Things will happen in the sports world, and I will still almost grab my phone so I can call him and talk to him. He took on my daughter Sophia during her basketball days. He called her his niece. He came to her AAU tournaments. He came to her high school games. He promoted her. He called schools trying to get her college offers. We all miss him greatly. He was a great friend. He was part of the family. And as everything we try to do now, these media days, which were his idea, we do them to honor and in memory of Kevin. So welcome to the Big Miller Arkansas High School Media Days. We're going to have one day of girls volleyball followed by 3 days of high school football. We hope you enjoy them as much as we enjoy putting them on. Thank you.
All right, to begin session 2 of day 2, we've got the Rosebud Ramblers. They're led by head coach Garrett Hagg. And Coach, I will go ahead and toss it over to you. You can introduce who you brought with you and give your opening statement.
Okay. First off, I just want to say thank you guys for putting this on every year. It's a really good opportunity to get these student athletes up here talking about the program and promoting Rambler football. So thank you guys for that. Up here, I've got, to my right, I've got junior Manny Waits. He's going to be offensive line, defensive line for us, probably a little bit of linebacker as well. He'll be a third-year starter. He started for us at center as a 9th grader and a 10th grader at the senior high level, so expect big things for him this season. To my left, I've got Maddox Smith. He is also a junior. He's going to play some running back, fullback for us, also some linebacker, maybe a little bit of D-line as well. And then we've got senior Dylan Hunkapiller. He's going to be our quarterback this season. As well as play some linebacker on defense. Just talking about this upcoming season, we're just excited to get another year of Rambler football going. We have high expectations moving into the season. Last year we lost quite a few of our seniors, and we're going to replace them with quite a bit of sophomores and juniors. This year we're only going to have 3 seniors on the team, but I think that we've got a lot of guys that's going to step up and make a lot of big plays for us on both sides of the football, so we're extremely excited to get the season underway.
We'll start first, since you guys are the first 8-man team that we've had of the slate here. There's still a lot of questions from a lot of people about that. Now, of course, you've got the sanctioned ranked and then the some people call it the non-sanctioned club. And, of course, you guys, you play your playoffs, I guess, starting week 9 towards the end of the season. So talk about just how that, the scheduling and everything might be a little bit different than we might see an 11-man or 8-man sanctioned.
Right. And, this year it wasn't as bad because we kind of just flip-flopped. Like everyone we played last year, we're going to play again. It's just instead of home, we're going to go away. Instead of away, we're going to go home. But, it is challenging. There's not as many teams in the state that play 8-man. Luckily for us, we did get board approved to go back to 11-man in 2026. So as long as our numbers stay up, we're really excited for that opportunity. But yeah, I mean, it's difficult, and a lot of times the travel, we may have to, be okay with traveling, 2 to 3 hours away just to get a game in and get that scheduled in, So it's difficult, but and you never know, you may play, a team that spreads it out, and then the next week you may play, a team that runs more like a flex bone set, and then someone that may, like we did, we ran a little bit of swinging gate at times, so you never know what you're going to see.
Yeah, definitely. To the players, y'all been a part of the process, that Coach Hagg is trying to build here. So just talk about some of the things. We'll start from the right here, just that you've worked on through the offseason to better your craft.
Well, I'd have to say we work on offense most of the time, half the time defense. We're getting good. We're getting really good. That's it.
We've been focused on our strength training. I feel like we've definitely gotten a lot stronger and a lot more physical, especially at our last team camp. I felt like we really are able to do whatever we want, whether it's passing or running. So,
yeah, we have been working out a lot and doing a lot of conditioning and doing a lot of offense, making sure our plays are really down, so we could, win a lot more games than we have been.
Hey, Coach, and we talked about before, I know especially the first year or two there, it's really just kind of getting kids excited about the program because obviously in football you need quite a few bodies, whether it is 8-man or 11. So I understand and respect your focus on this year, but now knowing that you're going back to 11-man if everything works out in 2026, How important is this sophomore class, especially playing as a bunch of youngsters that can set the tone for 11-man?
Right. Yeah. I mean, we're really excited for our sophomore class, junior class, and our freshman class coming up. It just the biggest thing is keeping kids out. I think at Rosebud, traditionally it seems like we have a big junior high team, and then by the time they're seniors, we end up with a class of only like 3 to 5 seniors, and that's one thing that we want to try to eliminate if we can. Like next year we've got a pretty big junior class coming up, so as long as we can keep the numbers where they need to be, I think that we'll be ready to go.
Dylan, talk a little bit about playing quarterback. Coach was talking about you ran some swinging gates. You see some different deals. And on the defensive side, you obviously just see so many different packages. But you as a quarterback, just how – I don't know, did you play there last year? Is this
No.
Just okay, so this is your first year. And
Yeah.
just how has that gone as far as the transition throughout the offseason, like as things slowed down for you, just kind of how all that's playing out?
Yeah, it's different. We'll give it that because I did play tight end last year. And, it's like you got I'm gonna have to run the ball pretty good, and like passing wise, I really hope that our receivers can get open because I don't know, it's just gonna be pretty tough because it's pretty tough in 8-man to play quarterback because there's just everyone's on you every single play.
And we'll flip over to the defensive side, Coach, because maybe like with the exception of Strong, like you don't see a lot of elite defenses typically. It's usually a lot of offense, a lot of high scoring games. So strategically, just kind of planning from a defensive standpoint, how is that different?
Right. You see a lot of different looks, so it's more of a week-to-week thing. I will say this offseason we've tried to install, a couple defensive sets to where we can interchange between man and zone. My first couple of years, we tried to run a lot of zone defense, and then we kind of found that, in 8-man, as wide as the field is, as much room as you have, it's kind of hard to defend the run and the pass. We've tried to go just straight man, and then, if we have a team that's, outspeeds us, then it's toughed in as well. So we've been really working defensively on run fits and angles and just tackling in general, just getting better at tackling each day. I think we've got a scheme now that fits the 8-man game more, and we'll give our kids the best chance to be successful.
Going back to the scheduling, I think something else that a lot of others don't know is that there's only so many options in the 8-man race. I know there's some teams that I think Strong didn't play a game, or maybe they played one in the first month of the season last year, so sometimes it can get a little challenging in that regard. How do you keep your guys up knowing that everybody else is going to be playing on a certain Friday night, but yet you guys might have to just do a scrimmage against each other?
Right. With us being in the bigger 8-man division, I don't have any doubts that our conference games will get canceled. Luckily, I made a lot of phone calls, and I've got us a full season. Now there is always a chance that one or two teams may cancel on us. We've been pretty blessed the last couple of years, and that hasn't happened. So, we've always played on every Friday during the season. So I haven't really had to, that battle, and I'm hoping that, it continues that way and we don't have a lot of cancellations like, some of the Corning and Strongs and stuff like that,
Sure. And as far as some of the other players, you got obviously 3 of your leaders here right now. Who are some other ones that we should keep an eye on?
A couple that you should keep an eye on. We've got Daxton Clark. He's a transfer. He just got here this offseason. Expect big things from him. He's a smaller back, but he's pretty quick. We'll probably rotate him in and out at the receiver position and the running back position. My offensive line, we've got Hunter Palmer. We've got Manny. We've got Nick Galla. And we've got Jacob Yandell. 3 of the 4 are juniors, and then our tight end, Jacob, he's going to be a sophomore. So our offensive line is completely back from last year, so that's exciting. And, as long as none of them get hurt, we should have them back next year, which will be even better. But, yeah, I think the biggest thing for us is experience. All of our guys, they've been playing football for quite a few years now. When I first got here, one of our biggest issues is we would, have a small group, and then a couple seniors would come in that had never played before. And, I think just the consistency and keeping kids in is going to be very beneficial for us.
And for the players, we'll start from the right again. Going back to possibly, and I keep saying possibly because just as long as all the stars align for 2026 11-man, what are some standards that you guys want to set, or maybe just some standards you want to set, or we'll call it just individual goals for yourself that you guys have for this year?
I personally want to get better at being able to hold a block and protect my quarterback from any danger, any threats that might come.
I think what I want to focus on this year is probably just securing the tackle. I felt like the past couple of years, I'd be able to get somebody in good grip, but I've just let them slip away sometimes. And so I've been focusing on my tackling a lot, making sure it's down. So,
Yeah, I want to score a lot more touchdowns, and I want to get more passing yards, like try to throw away more passing yards than I have been.
All right, guys. We really appreciate y'all coming down.
All right, thank you.
I'll be honest, playing quarterback in
Yeah, the
8-man's fun.
It's
I wouldn't
fun.
want to be that guy. It's
the edge is really short, because if you throw it, run a spread offense, it's like off. You got a center and a guard, and then they're coming off.
I've had the pleasure of calling every 8-man championship, and that's Strong and
Yeah.
what was it, 21? Strong and Mountain Pine.
Yeah.
I think Mountain Pine was up like 3 touchdowns late in the third quarter, and then Strong came back in 3 overtimes.
Yeah.
That was such a good game.
Well, yeah. Thank y'all.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Appreciate y'all. I'll ask a question.
Here with Coach Carmichael and the Heber Springs Panthers. Coach Carmichael, you're in your second year at Heber. You guys had really good.
Yeah,
really
had a good
first
year
season last year. Just give us, people watching, give just a brief rundown of that, really good first season you had last year, And then just, expectations for this year. And then if you don't mind, introduce the 4 guys you brought with you.
Yeah, like I said, had a great first year last year. We started 0-2. We played a very tough non-conference schedule. Lost a close one at home to Pottsville, and kind of got beat up a little bit by Clinton in week 1, and then had a bye week, and that was kind of the turning point for our year. Played Lamar at home. I think we ran for over 400 yards that night, and it really set the tone going into the conference season. Had some close games. Had a walk-off field goal at CAC and a walk-off Hail Mary at Forest City. So the stars were on our side last year for sure. A great group of seniors who they bought into what we were trying to do, and the community poured into our football program, and it was an awesome experience. As far as expectations go for this season, I feel like we've got a good group, a good core group coming back. Probably more team speed than I've ever had on a football team that I've coached, and a lot of it has to do with these 4 here today. So we still got a long ways to go, but I think if we continue to improve and get a few spots shored up, that we can have a similar or better season this year. So real excited for what we've got coming. I'll start from my left, Seth Dudek. All 4 of these guys are 3-year starters. Very just great kids and talented football players. Dudek's a receiver. He'll play some safety for us. Big, long frame. He's a great athlete. He's a decathlete in track. I think finished in the top 15 at the decathlon this spring. Great hands, good route runners, got good spatial awareness, and so he'll be one of our go-to guys in the passing game. Next to me is Emmett Dwyer. Led the team in interceptions, had 4 block kicks, 60, 70 tackles, a couple of touchdown runs, a couple of touchdown catches. Kind of our do-everything guy. He'll be an explosive part of our return game this year. But he's a lockdown corner, and we'll run the jet sweep with him, throw it to him out in space. So very, very talented football player, just a competitor. State champion pole vaulter. Next to me here is Eli Buffalo. Like I said, another 3-year starter. Set the school record in TFLs last year. Had a big role in our defense, and he'll have an increased role offensively this year. He'll play some receiver for us as well. Very explosive. I think he's a 22-foot long jumper. He can just really, really explosive off the football. And then on the outside, Elijah Jones moves from outside to inside linebacker, kind of the leader of our defense. Big old strong kid, squatted 405 for 2 on his last set today in the weight room, and just a quiet leader on the defensive side of the ball, but very physical. And all these guys are just extremely hardworking. Like I said, great young men, and proud that they're representing us today.
You said you lost a great senior class, but also sounds like you have a great senior class this year too. I'd like to hear from all 4 of these guys. I think you said all 4 of them are 3-year starters?
Yes, sir. Yep.
We start down here, Elijah. Just kind of tell us all about, stepping into more of a leadership role this year. What you guys did through the offseason, and I'd like to hear from all 4 of y'all.
Yes, my role changes a lot from going outside to inside linebacker. I kind of lead and call a lot of the stuff that we run. In the weight room, more of a leading position on kind of pushing everybody else.
Yeah, my position pretty much stays the same. Outside backer, call the strength on our defense, and just kind of motivate the younger guys that need somebody to look up to. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would say definitely going into this year, it's Carmichael's 2nd year, so we're all getting used to this offense and everything. We did pick up some new defensive guys, and so that's definitely an adjustment to make. But I think with all of our seniors playing a good leadership role, I think that we're all getting really adjusted, and we're going to have a very successful season.
This year it'll be a lot different, going from the inside receiver to the single side receiver, and really just want to maybe fit into that wide receiver 1 role instead of wide receiver 2 or 3, and just lead in the weight room, get everybody else better. That's what
Coach, you kind of highlighted when you were talking one game, and I can't remember who you said it was, but you rushed for over 400 yards in one game. I don't think you have any of those running backs coming back.
No, we're going to look a little different offensively.
And so there's the question. So what are we going to see differently offensive wise? Because you've harped on athleticism and speed, and you got some wide receivers here. So what are we going to see a little different wise? And Do we have the same returning quarterback, or are we bringing in a new quarterback as well?
Graduated quarterback and running back, and lost 4 of our 5 on the offensive line. So we're retooling in some spots. Obviously our MO last year was to line up and run right at you, and it opened things up in the passing game. We're still going to establish a physical identity up front, but the way we do it will look a little bit different with the athleticism that we have. We've got to get the ball to those guys in space. I wouldn't be doing my job if we didn't. Breaking in a new quarterback, Lachlan Tubbs, be a junior this year. He spent all last year as our backup and went against a pretty good defense as the scout team quarterback all season. And the improvement he made from the beginning of the year to the end has carried over throughout the spring and the summer. He does a great job. We RPO quite a bit, and he does a great job of making those reads and getting the ball out when he needs to. And we're continuing to work on our timing and things like that. So we'll be a little bit more, I guess, balanced run pass than we were last year, just because of the athleticism that we've got.
Coach, you're a Heber alum.
Yep.
Back coaching at Heber, back in Heber coaching. Heber's one of those great communities where you just get fully embraced. I'd like to not only hear from you, but all 4 of you guys. I've been up to Heber on signing day before, where kids are signing and the bleachers are full, right? The stands are full in that Panther arena. Just talk about that embracement from the community, and I'd like to hear from the 4 of you guys as well.
Yeah, I get chill bumps just thinking about it. Heber Springs is special to me. Born and raised there, and just such a unique community. They, regardless of what it is, but for this instance in football, I mean they turn out for these kids, and I've not been told no on anything. Whatever we need, whether it's the administration or the members of the community, they're going to make sure that our kids get it and get everything they need, not just to have a chance to be successful, but to, I use the analogy all the time, they're treated like rock stars, and it was very similar. What we're trying to get it back to where it was when I was fortunate enough to grow up there and give these kids that same type of experience that we had as players. We got 4 alumni on the staff now that played throughout different eras of that really high time of Panther football, and so all those guys want the same thing that I do, to give these guys the same experiences that we had. And so it's just a special place. Can't say enough great things about it.
Elijah, just start with you. Just talk about Friday nights in Heber Springs.
Yeah, so Friday night in Heber Springs, it's really eventful, and it's nice to know we have a coach who cares and cares about our community there.
Playing on Friday nights, you're not only playing for yourself or your team, you're playing for the community, and just around town, just everybody's really just go Panther football, and it's a good environment to play in.
Yeah, I'll definitely say it's a community there. Even in our harder years that we had, they'd still all show out for us. And as years goes on, I see us having a lot of success. And with our just people being out there, I mean, it's nothing like it running out when you see those lights go on and everybody's out there just cheering on. You hear the band. It just gives you chills.
On Fridays, just whenever you see all those people in those stands, probably 90% of them, you just play for something, and it gives you a reason to play harder and care more about Panther football.
Coach, I want to go back to what you had talked about at the beginning of the CAC and the Forest City, the kind of last-second wins. I mean, really, the flip side, you guys are at a 500 season as opposed to 8-4, and there's plenty of teams that, you go into a season and you're like, well, could have had those other 2. Well, you guys were on the good side of that. So and I know this year is this year, but maybe what's kind of your message there as opposed to making sure that you finish games?
Yeah, I think the way that we prepared for those situations had a big part in why they finished in our favor. But the message has got to be that one thing bounces the other way. And like you said, we're 5-5 last year, and not having the same type of talks that we're having right now. And so just continuing to have a chip on your shoulder mentality and going to work and trying to improve every day. And I think the league is maybe even more balanced this year, especially in the middle than it was last season. And so every one of those games is going to be very important. Thankfully for us, we're getting a lot of them at home, and so hopefully that helps us. But no doubt, I mean, like you said, it's those little bitty moments. That's what you spend all spring and summer preparing for, and then it's on them to go make the plays whenever they get the chance.
Finish it up with a question to each of the players. I think I know the answer to this. What's that one game that you guys had last year? You had a great season last year, but what's that one game that you guys had, maybe got a little away from you, that you're just really looking forward to lining up and playing again this year?
One team that I'm really looking forward to play is Lone Oak. We scrap with them, and that game is just always fun.
I can agree with that. Clinton's always a good battle, but I feel like on the player level, us and Lone Oak probably get into it the most. So I'm probably looking forward to that one the most.
Yeah, coming off that, Clinton has always been a big rival in this town, but I will say Lone Oak, it's definitely built up a lot. And, when you get to that part of the season where you can see them on your schedule, it's definitely gets you going.
Just to build off that as well, Clinton, always big game. Everybody comes out to watch. It's more like a community thing, but when it gets down to the players, Lone Oak, they like to talk a little bit of trash, makes it a little bit more fun.
All right, guys, Heber Springs on the lake. Where's the best place to cliff jump?
Peters Creek.
Peters Creek.
I'd definitely say Peters Creek. There's just a lot of cliffs there. Definitely be careful about the logs hanging out of the water, though.
Yeah, Peters Creek's a good one. Always Miller's. You can go to that one by foot.
Miller's got my vote. I grew up right down the road from there.
All right, thank y'all very much for coming down.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all.
All right, up next, we've got the Wynne Yellow Jackets, led by head coach Clay Toddy. Coach, I will pass it over to you to give your opening statement, introduce who you brought with you.
Well, we appreciate you inviting us. Very proud of these kids. So before the tornado 2 years ago, we had 64 8th and 9th graders. That would be our juniors and seniors now. We got 19 of those 64 left. And of course, this is 4 of them. We started 9 guys, I guess, 9 seniors as sophomores 2 years ago. We have picked up a few. I know James' family moved in. So these kids are special to me. Proud, in a world today where we talk about the ones that leave, we talk about the ones that are stars, we talk about the ones that are talented. These are guys that got some grit and loyal to their school and stuck together and a bunch of fighters. So they're my kind of people, and I love them and I appreciate them. We got Anthony Smith. He'll be a 3-year starter for us. He's DN, tight end. K6, 3-year starter for us. He's a DN. James Archer, 3-year starter for us. James has actually started D-line and O-line, and then Wes Fuller has started for 3 years for us on the offensive line.
You mentioned the tornado last year. That's what we were talking about. Y'all were practicing on 30-yard football fields, having to share with the band, and it's just such a tragic time for the community that so many had to overcome. But how is everything with numbers? I know, previously the numbers were definitely below 5A standard, well below 5A standard. So how is all that coming about?
Still are, but we're making progress. Like I said, we've only got 19 juniors and seniors that have stayed with us the whole time through. So we're still relying on a lot of sophomores. We got 46 total. We have 24 juniors and seniors, so we picked up 5 with that 19. Like I said, James' family moved in and got a job right after the tornado. So we're still not where we need to be. We're still having to rely on sophomores, and when you get your program like you want it, you're playing sophomore because you want to, not because you have to. But we've had a great off season. I guess 32 of our 46 we have access to an off season, and of those 32, we had 26 of those guys power clean 200 pounds, and then some of those baseball guys that we got in the summer, we got 3 of those up. So our strength is a lot better. I mean, we were, first year after tornado, we were down to 8-10 guys doing that. So, we're a lot stronger. Of course, naturally, like I said, we got 9 guys that started 3 years for us, so we got a little bit more experience. But we're still, the depth standpoint, still relying on a lot of young guys. And, these guys are having to double up, play a lot of positions, and be leaders and play through pains, and, got a lot of good qualities to them.
Yeah, players will start from the right. You're playing for one of the most well-respected coaches in men to ever walk the sidelines in Arkansas. And now that I guess this is year 3 for you now that, the culture has been set, you guys know by now what is expected. Just talk about what it's like to play for Coach Toddy and the Wynne Yellow Jackets.
So what it's like to play for Coach Toddy. He's a builder of men, a great coach, and a coacher. It's like he builds a culture around us to play as better as a team. And yeah.
Coach Toddy's really good at disciplining us, making us men. Still, we have a lot of progress to go, but he gives us all the tools we need for now and the future.
Playing for Coach Toddy, you definitely got to be a fighter. You got to be able to play all 4 quarters of every football game you play, and that starts at practice. Coach Toddy helps you get conditioned, get ready for those hot games that start at the beginning of the year, and then once you get into them colder temperatures, we're out there every day nonstop. We're out there all day nonstop, keeping the grind going. But definitely made a lot of progress these last few years with Coach Toddy, and definitely have more progress to go. I'm excited to see how this season's going to go.
With Coach Toddy, the team feels more like a family than most of the teams I've ever played for. I mean, after the tornado, we lost almost everybody I was growing up with due to moving schools or whatever that is. And with him around, it just brings us all together. It makes us feel like a family, and that helps us play better, practice better, keep ourselves disciplined, and it makes us a better team.
Coach, you as well as anybody understands how important a strong non-conference schedule is to get ready for conference play and ultimately the postseason. We had Marion in here earlier. That's who you guys open, I know, with respect to the benefit game, of course, as well. But you open up the regular season with Marion, a 6A school. Just talk about, I know you've had some good matchups with them since you've been at Wynne in the short time. So just talk about starting off against a quality school in a higher classification.
Yeah, playing Marion makes us better. If you're a competitor, then we talk about that every day, don't we, fellas? I mean, yes, how many days to Marion? Do you think that's going to give us a chance to beat Marion? And so that, they're very talented, very well coached. We like that, getting to face them. We'll run our 40 kids out there, they'll run their 90, and we'll have guys going both ways. And we like the challenge of that, and I think our kids embrace that. We know it would be a great accomplishment for us to beat a team like that, and I think our guys look forward to going up against talent like that. Those guys are justifiably get a lot of attention. They got colleges beating down the door for them, and we're excited about getting a chance to measure yourself against that. To be the best, you got to beat the best, and if you're a competitor, you want to go up against the best.
Around the middle to the back end of the season, you guys won 3 or 4 games, then dropped 3 of those. Now, of course, one was a Harding Academy, and then you drew at the time, back-to-back defending state champion Parkview, and then ultimately ended up being 3 times. So now that you get a chance to, and the players can touch on this too if you'd like, getting to play against Parkview, that's been the standard of 5A the last few years, kind of gives you a little bit of an example of where you might be and the things you need to work on. So what was kind of the message after winning 3 or 4 and then dropping the last 3?
Well, we lost a lot. The play was unbelievable. We lost 7 starters there at one time, and we were playing kids that should have been in JVs, and I'll be honest about we were down to our 4th quarterback in Nettleton, and we started getting hurt, and we had some guys that didn't want that challenge of playing Parkview. That's just the blunt truth, visiting with Bobby, and Coach Bolden was actually one of my coaches at Ouachita. He's a lot older than me. We had some guys that didn't want none of that. So these guys that stayed, I was proud of the fight we put up. We were overmatched. We were playing a lot of kids that should have been playing JV, but we went on an 11-minute drive there, drove down inside the 20. We executed Red O there at the end of the first half, kicked a field goal. We didn't have anything to be embarrassed by, but we did get to see. I think these guys could attest to that, how strong we need to be, how it helps to have depth, how it helps to have an offense, a defense, a kickoff team. But those guys might want to touch on that as well.
Okay. Love to hear from you guys if you have anything on that.
Parkview, what y'all learn from playing Parkview?
Playing Parkview is definitely what Coach Toddy tries to teach. You got to be able to fight and not fight through the entire game, but not only to fight, you got to be able to finish. Like Coach Toddy said, we drove the ball down the field. We had the ball for 11 minutes in the first quarter, and that's saying something against the number 1 team you got in your conference. So we drove the ball down the field, but the past 2 years we've had trouble finishing. We had multiple games last year, like when we played Marion, we couldn't finish inside the 4th quarter, and that lost us the game. So when we played down there in Parkview and we drove the ball down the field, got inside the 20, we weren't able to finish. We knew that game was going to be a ball game, but we weren't able to execute throughout the entire game, which led us to lose the game.
Anybody else? Parkview, learn something from Parkview?
Archer summed it up perfectly.
And I also wanted to ask the players too. I always like to pick the brain because I'm Coach Toddy knows I'm a smash mouth guy. I love running the football. I know obviously you guys do, playing where you do. So I guess we'll start from the right again. Just talking about that's kind of the old school mentality: strong defense, running the football down your throat. So talk about the pride you guys take in being able to do that.
The pride we take in of the offense that we run is great. So we love to hit, love to go strong. We just love playing physical.
Yeah, love the physical part about it. Also running the hardest hitting offense ever created. Right, Coach?
Quickest hitting.
Quickest hitting, apologies. Take a lot of pride in it. It's always been a big part of Wynne, especially in the past. We ran a lot. It's nothing new, but it's also a big system we got to learn.
Running the type of offense, running the type of defense we run, you have to be strong. There is no coming out of your stance, grabbing arms like you're running outside zone, everything like that. You got to be strong, and that's why Coach Toddy implements, our weightlifting program implements taking pride in your lifting ability. And it wasn't like the last few years we haven't really been strong. And Coach Toddy was saying in big 5A schools, you don't power clean 200 pounds, you don't have that explosiveness, you won't play. So having as many kids as we do power cleaning 200 pounds, you can definitely see the difference.
To continue what he was saying, the best part about this offense is whenever you're taking pride in the weight room and you're getting your work done, when you get out there and you show what you've been doing in the weight room and in the off season, it'll obviously show in the success that you have on the field. And I think that's the best part, is it actually shows how hard you've been working.
Speaking of offenses, Coach, now that you're a couple years into 5A, I know when you were at Rising, you faced a lot more kind of run first teams typically. Now you're going up against Nettleton, Harding Academy, Valley View, a lot of spread offenses. So does that bring maybe a little bit more challenges maybe that you just kind of had to adapt to?
Well, really, though, at the end at Rising, there was just a handful of schools that were running it then. So, Coach Skinner does a great job with their defense. And, I point that out. Coach Skinner and Coach Lemke stayed with us. So, them was the only two coaches that were here before the tornado that are still here also. It kind of explains what we've kind of been dealing with. And I appreciate all that he does. But, we think that the whole small school mentality, we think has really helped us during this transition here at Wynne, because, if you're able to control the ball with your offense, that's less snaps that you have to play with your defense. So, it's something that we see quite a bit. In fact, there's nobody really that we see that gets under center. Batesville does a little bit. So, when you see it every week, you team camp it, you 7-on-7, and then of course we have a gun package ourselves. So, we feel like we feel like our offense can help our defense.
Coach, this is a question for you. Coming to an event like today, what does it mean to be able to talk about your program? Well,
I appreciate it for these kids. Like I said, I am a advocate for these guys that stayed. I appreciate that these guys get to come up here. They were arguing about where we was going to eat when we leave. They're all excited by the big restaurants and letting their folks know what website they can see them on. I'm just proud that they get a chance. We're kind of tucked away up there. After the tornado, everybody swarms in, and then everybody goes back to normal, and it's not normal for us. We deal with that every day. And these guys stayed. These guys endured. These guys are proud to be Wynne Yellow Jackets. They're proud of their school. They're proud of their town. They love each other. Not enough of that left in the world. So we just appreciate you giving them an opportunity to get some attention for that.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys, we really appreciate y'all making the trip down.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Too.
All right, here with Coach Nick Vaughn, Camden Fairview Cardinals. Coach, another pretty good, successful year last year. Give us a brief rundown for those who don't know about last year, some expectations for this year. I know you guys lost a lot of production, but then introduce the two guys that you brought along with you, okay?
Absolutely. You know, we've coming off back-to-back semifinal years. Last year we thought was the year that we would take a real big step forward and make it to the finals. That was the expectation. You know, we ended up finishing third. We early in the season we played Lakeside to a one-score game. We actually have the ball under 2 minutes to play on their end of the field and turn it over late. Otherwise, we go in and we got a chance to go in and score and win that one. Fast forward to the very end of the year, we're playing Parkview at our place, week 10. Vying for, honestly, at the end of the night, I mean, there were scenarios where we could have, been co-champs and or even finished third in the league. As crazy as it was, shows how competitive it was up top. Led Parkview most of the night and just didn't finish it towards the end. Played Harding Academy round 1, played really well. A very good Harding Academy team, beat them at their place on the road. Then we go to Farmington against kind of a Cinderella story with them and Coach Tice, a very, very well-coached team. Had the lead early and then just didn't finish it. Super talented team. They go on to play in the finals against Parkview and whatnot. But we were very disappointed in how the year ended. Felt like we left a lot on the table with 28 seniors. Overall, probably one of the better teams we've had since I've been at at Camden. And then just, these guys would say it. I mean, these are two guys that'll be 3-year players for us. And we just felt like we left a lot on the table. And the expectation this year is to pick up where we left off and do a much better job finishing games. And that's what we focused on this spring and summer. I thought we've had a productive spring and summer replacing 28 seniors, quite a bit of starters. I think we have 5 and 5 coming back on either side. Most of that is O-line and D-line. You could argue we have 4 O-linemen back, 3 starters, and 1 that played quite a bit. And then these 2 young men were starters for us last year on the D-line. We're going to transition back to an even front, and there'll be 2 of the 4 starters there. We have 3 total starters at that spot back, along with 1 linebacker spot and 1 DB. So we've got a lot of skill guys. And like you mentioned, I think all but maybe 5 touchdowns that were scored last year graduated. So that's going to be interesting. So we may look a little bit different, but really like where we are right now. I think we still have a good ways to go, obviously, with plenty of time to get there. But really excited about the direction. We're going to look a little different, but we're going to be athletic, and that's something to be excited about.
Well, you brought a couple of defensive players. Let's talk about defense before we hop over on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously have a lot of returning production on defense with you that you just brought right here. Talk about these 2 and then some of the other guys that aren't here.
Obviously, we got DeCason Torrance, he'll be a 3-year starter for us at D-tackle. And then to my right, your left is Zach Duhart, who played quite a bit as a sophomore, as more of a third down pass rusher, but last year was a full-time starter. I believe he was third on the team in tackles. Just really excited about how we're really athletic on defense. We've been kind of transitioning a little bit with personnel because we are replacing so much, and anytime you do that, I mean, we're replacing 3 out of our 4 secondary spots, 2 of our 3 linebacker positions, and then still looking for that other 4th D-line starter. But we feel like we have a good quality bunch of kids to kind of fill multiple spots, and it's just finding the right mix, and that's kind of where we are. But the great news about it is we feel like we're very athletic, and our kids play extremely hard, and that's what is fun about them. It's fun to coach when they fly around to the football, and they're very aggressive, we just got to continue to find ways to make the best ones play when it matters, but also develop depth so that, late in the year we don't fall off. We don't have any fall off, late in the game.
And this for both players, I'd like to hear from both of you guys. Lost a lot of seniors off that team last year. I'm sure both of you guys are stepping into a leadership role. So just talk about the offseason. You guys stepped into those new leadership positions. What you guys did on a personal level and as a team level and as a position level.
As a position. On the position level, I just feel like I had to get better in the weight room and on the field. So by me doing that, I just got stronger and better. And as a team, we just work together to be the best that we can be, really.
And with me, basically, you know, we just got to keep working. That's all. You know, stay focused, stay hungry, and you know, like he said, working out. You know, stuff like that. You know,
And just bragging on Casey, I mean, back when Buck James was at Camden Fairview, he put up a board of, you know, top 10 benchers and all that kind of stuff, and then all-time record. His older brother held the squat record. Matter of fact, bench record, squat, maybe power clean, or just those two.
Bench and squat.
Bench and squat. Well, he broke his brother's record. So I mean, we're making headway in the weight room, and that's something these two guys work extremely hard. You know, we spend a lot of time on speed, change of direction work with our kids. I mean, we put even a kid like Casey who may have thrown, shot, and disc and track, but he did a lot of the sprint work too. So I mean, those are things that we try to work in the off season, is to make our kids more athletic, but loosening their hips and things of that nature. And these two guys have done a great job working that in the off season.
And Coach, you lost, you know, well, one of the better quarterbacks in the state. A lot of production there. Who's going to step into those shoes to fill that role? And then also, a lot of those other skill players on the offensive side of the ball that you were relying on last year.
Oh, most definitely. You know, when you talk about Camden football, the last 2 years, the first name that jumps out at you is Trent Haygood, right? He's the do-everything speedster. We're losing so much production from him breaking the school's all-purpose record, and just many things that he's done. Excited about his future at Henderson State. Same thing with Junie Atkins, our quarterback, going to UAM, expecting big things from him in the future. So we had a major reset, and we're going to have guys like Dayton Browning, who was a sophomore a year ago, who's a junior now. He's going to fill that Trent Haygood type role. We'll move him around, inside and outside receiver. You could see him possibly getting carries in the backfield as well, along with Red Robinson. You know, we've got several guys that have had really good springs in summer. Chris Randall, who's a sophomore, who jumps out at me, who could be very productive on the outside at receiver. And then, you know, the main question you asked about is quarterback. Who's going to play quarterback? That's the talk of the town. Who's playing quarterback this year, Coach? Well, his name's going to be Brody Dow for right now. And Brody has had, you know, he's played football and baseball the last several years. He was our backup a year ago. Thankfully, he didn't have to play a ton of snaps. But it's his turn, right? It's his turn to take the ball and lead the charge for us. He has been a very pleasant surprise this spring and how he has developed in the last 6 months. And, you know, we're continuing to see progression from him, and that's what we're going to have. Are we going to throw it around as much as we did in years past? Probably not. We're going to look a little bit different, but part of that is how our team is kind of built right now. A big, strong offensive line with a good stable of running backs that bring multiple things to the table for us athletically, but also their ability. And so we're really looking forward to what that looks like, and anxious to see how we fill those productive roles.
And, you know, right off the bat, one of the very first things you said was we worked hard in the offseason. We got to work this fall about finishing games.
Yeah.
You know, finishing games, it's a mindset. You know, how do you transition that to get your kids to have that mindset? They're already talented enough, they're already big enough, they're strong enough, they're athletic enough. But what did you guys work on the offset to get that mindset to finishing games?
I mean, for us, it's about putting them in difficult situations and teaching them how to push through. Whether it's, all right, hey, we said we're going to run 8 sprints and, you know, checking their temperature a little bit and making them do 1 extra or something. Or it could be, hey, we're going to do X amount of sled pushes but find a way to make it a little more, hey, this last few, we're going to add a little bit more weight to it, just to create aversive situations that we can find a way to collectively push through as a group, where we have guys like these two that are positive voices when it gets tough, instead of being negative when I'm tired, it's hot, or Coach, I'm ready, you know, I'm not ready to go. Hey, let's get one more. And the exciting thing that you see is when they spend time on their own afterwards, or they come out before to get in some extra, knowing that, hey, we're going to have a strenuous workout today, but hey, let's get outside and spend some extra time on our own as a group. working on these fundamentals or these drills so that we can get a little better, or staying after to, hey, let's work with this young one because I think he could help us in the fall and help passing those things down. So that's kind of how we've done some of that. You really can't do all of it until you face it again, right? Until you get in those competitive game-like situations, and we try to create those in the spring, doing different scenarios, whether it's third downs, and the end result is, hey, we're going to see how many wins 2 out of 3, and then this is the X result that you're going to get, or going to team camps and seeing really good teams like the one on my right to your left that's going to come after us in Pine Bluff. Another way to do it is, speaking of Pine Bluff, is scheduling tough competition early in the year to prepare our guys for those late end of the year pushes. You want to be able to scrimmage a team like a Bryant. We're going to play Arkadelphia, 4A state champion. We're going to play El Dorado, perennial power, who's a big-time rival for us. Then we're going to turn around in week 2 for our third game and play Pine Bluff, who is extremely athletic, got all the talent in the world. And it's going to be, coaches getting them back to where they're going to be playoff pushers late in the year. So it's, again, challenging our guys early so that we know how to respond better late.
I think the one position group we didn't hit on, or you didn't hit on, was offensive line. Tell us about the guys you're going to be leaning on up front.
Well, good thing is, Casey's a D tackle, but we've got 4 or 5 of them looking a lot like him playing O-line. So that's a good thing, right? His size helps. We're going to be able to, we feel like running the football is going to be a priority this year because of our O-line. We have Taylor Scaife, who's a 2-year starter for us, moving from guard to tackle. That was a big move for us. We have Carson Hill coming back. He's also moving from guard to tackle. So it puts a little bit bigger bodies on the edge. They've had a great spring and summer working on their pass pro because, that's your big fight for big kids. Can they move their feet and work against speed rushers? We've had a good spring and summer with them. Caden Adams, a sophomore coming in, is doing really well at guard. Drew Bostic, who played some last year at guard and center, stepping in our center role, and we don't have a lot of drop off. And then Robert Israel, who'll be a 2-year starter, a little bit of a 3-year player for us, returning at right guard. So we feel really good about our O-line, and that's without any other kids we talked about rotating. So we feel like we have 6, 7 guys that we can really rely on, and with various things happening through the spring and summer, we've kind of gotten them work that we feel like we've started developing some depth there too.
That wraps it up for Camden Fairview. Coach, we appreciate you guys coming up. You guys, good luck this year, okay?
Thanks for having us.
All right, up next we've got the Pine Bluff Zebras led by head coach Mike Williams. Coach, I will go ahead and toss it over to you. You can introduce who you brought and give your opening statement.
All right, so on my right I have Caden French. He's an O-lineman for us. We also have Emmanuel Hudson, which is D-line, O-line for us this year. Kevin Pope, which is linebacker, our middle linebacker, and he's going to play a little bit of H-back. And then we have Quinn Roy that's going to play receiver and some D-end for us this year, as well as tight end. Just very excited to be here today. This is an opportunity that every school should have and every state should have, and I'm glad that we got a chance to do something like this. This is the second year in, and this is just awesome.
So a couple of years ago, you guys made it to the semifinals. Last year, you did win 3 of your last 4, so you finished off the season strong. But I know quarterback was one issue that really since Landon's gone, he kind of had a little bit of struggles trying to figure out who that guy is. So talking about just the quarterback competition, that's how we'll start. Just talk about how that's going.
Okay, so right now we have another number 8 it puts you in the mind of Landon all over again. His name is Jamar Morrow. He's going to be a sophomore this year. He was actually on the Dual City Championship team a year ago, and he's ready to go. We battle tested him real early. We went to a lot of 7-on-7s right after school out. We went to Arkansas 7-on-7. We went 4-1. We lost on the Hail Mary for the championship game, and then we went to Memphis 7-on-7, and then the shootout of the South. So we battle testing this young guy early. Then we do have a couple of backup guys that's going to give us significant minutes as well.
And Coach Vaughn was just talking about how you're definitely one that's going to schedule tough, and you like the out-of-state matchups. Now, of course, you got Millwood, Oklahoma last year. That was just a touchdown game, and then now you guys are playing. Okay, so you are playing Kimball again. You got to play
Yes.
Kimball last year at Pine Bluff. So just talk about some of your relationships. I know you obviously got a lot in Texas, but some of the surrounding schools that kind of goes into scheduling those out-of-state matchups.
Right. So when it comes down to scheduling, we're going to schedule tough. We can schedule some smaller schools and beat up on smaller schools, but for me, it's not getting us ready for playoffs. Our ultimate goal is to be ready for playoffs and championship game. So this year we got back the 5A, 6A. They went 6A last year. 6A state champions, Grenada, Mississippi. That's going to be our first game on the road. Me and Coach spoke 3 years ago, and we've been friends ever since, and we're going to definitely always try to keep them on the schedule. This year, we're going to still play Coach Bam Harrison at Kimball High School in Dallas. They are always a tough team every year. They've been 8-3 the last 3 years since he's been there. And I like to schedule tough to battle test our guys. And then, of course, you saw Coach Vaughn will just walk out of here. He always going to have some hogs up there. He said they're young, but I'm like, man, where did the dude come from? So he's always going to have a good team. And back in the day, we always had good battles playing Camden. I know El Dorado reached out to us this year. I'm like, man, I don't know if we're going to be able to play Camden and El Dorado, but we're excited about the tough, hard matchups that we have. We're in the toughest conference in the 5A. It's no secret. And some people kind of ridicule us because we schedule so hard up front, and then you got to go into our conference. But for me, we do that because that's why we were able to win the last 4 games, last 3 out of 4 games last season. And that was without a quarterback. But this year, I think we're going to make a special push.
So the players will start from the right over here. Now that Coach Williams has been here for a few years, obviously an alumnus of the school, understands how important this program is. I mean, along with Little Rock Central, you guys historically are the best program in the state's history. So talk about that kind of pride of being a Zebra, but also, too, now that you understand what Coach Williams expects.
To be a Zebra, it means a lot. We put the work in, we work hard, give our faith to God, and we're going to push through trials and tribulations.
Oh, me? I'm next. I'm sorry.
No, you're good, man. No.
What it mean to be a Zebra? It's great to be a Zebra, man. And like, how's the program? You said?
Yeah, just now that Coach Williams has been here for a few years, and I know he took over a pretty tough situation, but now that everything, the standards have been set, just what it means to you to be a Zebra.
Well, it means a lot. I'm thankful for Coach Will walking into my life in 9th grade. He's been doing a great job. He's a great mentor, and I feel like he saved a lot of kids' lives, and he really changed around the program. Like me, I was a trouble kid, but like he took me under his wing, used to pick me up for practice and everything. So like I feel like he's doing a great job, and I feel like the senior class we got now is gonna push the other like 9th graders and 10th graders up, because we such leaders and we work hard, and you know we just own them every day. So I feel like the program's just gonna keep on getting better and better.
It means a lot to me to be a Zebra, because just the history behind being a Zebra, it's a lot that come with it. Not anybody can wear those stripes. It's a pride feeling when you can put on the stripes and represent them in the best way possible. So like with Coach Will, when he came into our life our freshman year, he just put it in our head that we're gonna have to work hard if we really want to be great. And ever since then, he's been preaching to us about how you gotta have faith, discipline, mental and physical toughness, these things of that nature, relating to peers, to our 6 life skills. So he just changed our life in a big way. So we really appreciate him.
A way that what was the question again?
Just basically what it means to be a Zebra, and how
what it
just
means.
building off what they said, how Coach Will has affected you both on and off the field.
A way that he affected me, well, he made me like push my limits. Like when I wanted to stop, he kept me going, and like things of that nature.
And the reason why I wanted to ask that, Coach, is when you first got there, that one of the first, obviously, you know, you knew the wins would come, but when you got there, the biggest thing was grades and keeping the kids just in line, basically. To hear them say, I mean, you heard some of them say, save their lives and use those type of terms. What does that mean to you, knowing that you're in, was this year 3, I guess, is it 3? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're in year 3, and you
going
have
to 4.
or 4. Sorry, you were going over to 4. I'm shorting you one. So now that you have gotten to this point, and knowing that the goals that you set in that regard, kind of the more important things off the field, what does that mean for you to hear?
It means everything. First of all, let me put a plug. Don't Teddy Bridgewater me. I did not pick him up for practice. So don't Teddy Bridgewater me. But the thing is for me, it's about saving their lives. It's not about state championship rings. I can make it about state championship rings, and I can go out there and preach state championship, and get a trophy. But these are my trophies. And, you know, I'll be able to wear my trophies every day, and my trophies come back and see me every day, such as some of the big-time guys like Courtney Crutchfield and Austin Dendy and Jordan Harris. All these guys come back to see, and they literally hang with our guys because they know it's a safe haven to be. And that's a trophy for me, just to know that I've saved some lives.
Yeah, definitely. Talking about the 5A Central that we touched on, we had Coach Hurd in here earlier, your former defensive coordinator. Obviously, Joe T. Robinson, they've kind of been the standard of the conference. Maumelle has just continued to improve every year under Coach Mobb. So just from playing in that conference now for so long, what is your take on that? Just really, as you said, no nights off really.
Yeah, it's definitely no nights off. I mean, this conference right here, I don't know how we end up in this conference every year, but it's like a gauntlet. But it's a good gauntlet because I just know whoever wins the state championship usually either going to come from our conference or even the conference that's Parkview in. So we kind of try to, you know, hang in there with these guys, and hopefully this year will be our year.
And guys, you heard Coach mention Courtney Crutchfield, Austin Dendy, some of the guys that have made it to, you know, big time college football. I know he's obviously one of the best in the state at getting his guys recognized. How big of a difference as far as him helping you get recruited, but also talking to Austin Dendy, talking to Jordan Harris, Courtney Crutchfield, you know, how much does that motivate you as far as getting to the next level?
It gives us good tips on what to do, what not to do. It motivates us, help us want to work harder. Yeah, and those good guys, they work, they earn their job, and they in good places.
It's cool, you know what I'm saying, to have like teammates to make it to big time colleges like that, because like you starting to see like the difference between SEC and stuff. Like, you know, Courtney and Austin, they'll send me pictures on like how the facilities look, how they eating good and stuff. It just motivated me to like want to get there so bad, you know. And I'll talk to them on the game. PS5 will be on the party, just chatting and playing NCAA all the time. So like, I feel like they just took me under their wing, you know what I'm saying? Other seniors too, like in 8th grade, like used to drop me off at home and stuff, you know, buy me something to eat, just chill with them, go play basketball with them. It's just not them too. It's like they whole class was just some cool dudes, you know what I'm saying? And they still, you know, in college to this day, you know, making a name for themselves. So like, I feel like they were some great dudes.
Nah, it motivates me personally because they come from where we all come from. So I see them do it, and it just motivates me to know that it can happen. It's not impossible because I have seen it happen. Austin Dendy, Courtney Crutchfield, Jonathan Goins, Jordan Harris, like them our guys. Like they took us in when we was young. So like they just taught us the correct ways to do things. Like they pushed us more to work because they was working as well. So just seeing that motivates us tremendously.
Just motivating on the part like what not to do and what to do, and like keep pushing us to where we want to be.
All right, guys. Well, we really appreciate you making the trip up.
All right, up next is the Mills Comets. Coach Greg Hunter. Coach, I'm going to let you start it off and just give your opening statement and talk about that historic season last year and talk a little bit about this year.
All right, I'm Greg Hunter. I'm the wide receivers coach at Mills High School. Last year we had a pretty good season. We done some things that had never been done at Mills. First time we were the undefeated conference champs ever outright at Mills, so that was something big for us. Here I got with me Ernest Haynes. He's a senior.
Nice to meet you.
He plays receiver. Got Eli Moody. He's a sophomore quarterback. And I have Cortez Carter, who's an offensive defensive line. He's a junior. This year we're just looking to try to continue on what we built last year.
You talk about what you built last year, and a lot of the talk last season was the change in conference and that maybe you guys hadn't seen a lot of competition. No offense towards the conference itself, but when you got to postseason, folks didn't really want to give you a lot of credit. You guys really kind of maybe prove some things in that. Talk about that process getting into postseason and what it meant to you and these players as well to have that success and kind of set some school records on the way.
We just were looking to go 1-0 every week. We really didn't care about who we were playing. The focus was for us was just to get better every single week, and hopefully that would end, with a state championship, which we fell short. We don't really pay attention to a lot of the noise, man. We block it out. All we're focused on is about our day-to-day at Mills making sure these guys, get the things they need in life outside of football, and making sure that they become, great future husbands, dads, and things like that. So as far as the football noise, we don't really pay attention to it. We just go in, prepare every week, and just try to go 1-0, man. That's all we're focused on.
So turning to the players a little bit, I want to start with Eli. So Elijah, last year I don't think really nobody knew much about who Eli Moody was, and now by the end of the year, we all knew who Eli Moody was. Talk about your season last year and some of the things you're working to improve on as we go into this next season.
My season last year it kind of excited me knowing that I could play at the highest level with the highest guys, playing the best of my abilities, being a leader as a young person. So I wanted to show everybody that I could play as a starting QB for a team that was well-rounded and that was high guys. So being a leader as a young person kind of excited me to show him my standards of what I could be when I become a little older. And this year I kind of want to show everybody that I'm more of a dual third quarterback, because I know a lot of people seen me run a lot last year, and it was kind of skepticism about how good my passing game could be. So I want to show them that this year I want to show them that I'm more of a dual third quarterback, and I can beat you in both the running and passing game.
So I think the question I have, how much are you squatting now? Because I know last year it was a little outrageous.
This year I'm squatting 585. Yes, sir.
Is he the strongest one? Who's got him beat?
I think Cortez has him beat in squat. Yeah.
Cortez, talk about last year and just what it meant to you in terms of what this meant to Mills to have the success that you guys had and to really start gaining some respect for Mills going forward.
Well, last year was my first year of varsity, starting varsity, so what it meant, a lot of people, they didn't think we was going to be too much good. So like Coach Greg said, that 1-0 mentality, just don't worry about them. And it meant a lot to me because I could play on the same field with the people I call my brothers and my family. So yeah, that's how it meant a lot to me.
So talk about, so we know what you got offensively. You look now, there'll be some questions I would assume wide receiver wise, replacing some guys on that end. But talk about the defensive side of the ball, and you players can chime in as well. Just what it means to you guys, because last year you didn't give up a lot of points. It was a pretty dominant year defensively. Talk about that effort and what it means to you guys on the defensive side to kind of offset what the offense is going to do.
Yeah, well, in order to win games, you got to be able to stop somebody. So that's what we like to preach every single day. We got some starters coming back on defense. We have Alan Hall. He started at safety for us as a sophomore. He's going to be big for us. We have Darren Weston, who's our middle linebacker. He's one of our senior guys, going to be a big-time leader for us on defense. We have Cortez coming back, who's going to start both sides of the ball, plays D-tackle, a little bit of D-end. We got a lot of guys that came back from that defense. So the experience is there. The leadership is there, and I think we're going to be able to continue to build on what we did last year. I think we might have set the school record for the least amount of points given up in a game. And like I said, it's all just about building on that, man. If we can find ways to improve, we're going to do it.
I think one of the more impressive things about last season, you had some troubles finding some of the games early, so you got a little bit of a late start. I know you got Ashdown early. How has that gone as far as just kind of making sure you're able to get some of those before conference play begins?
It's been going okay, man. I think we still have one more open date, September the 12th. So if anybody's looking for a game, I believe Coach Cortez Lee, he's still looking for a game. But those games are important for us because they're going to help us work out a lot of kinks. We're a pretty young team this year, but I think we're going to be pretty okay. Those games are going to be big for us just because these guys are going to be able to experience, varsity play at an early level against some pretty good competition. So.
Speaking of schedule, I know it's just a benefit game, but talk about that little matchup in early or mid-August, I guess, with Maumelle and the benefit.
Yeah, so Maumelle's going to come over to Mills for a benefit game. We talked to Coach Mop about it. I think it might have been something we tried to set up last year, but it didn't go through. And this year we were able to do it and try to bring some type of PCSSD rivalry back to the district. And it's good for us. You know, Moppin and Marmel are some pretty good guys over there. So it's going to be good for us. It's going to be good for them. And we're just looking to hopefully make the best of it and get some good work out of it.
Now, obviously, you got a little bit of a quarterback wide receiver tandem over here with Haynes. Haynes, talk about your relationship with Elijah and building that and what you think this offense could look like.
Well, when Elijah first came to Mills, we kind of clicked at first, you know, with him being a new quarterback and we just losing our recent quarterback, Turk. So, really just every day after practice, after, you know, preseason, we'll just get some snaps in, get some balls in, you know, run some routes so I can really get used to how he throw the ball because he kind of threw the ball completely new then to what I was used to these previous years, you know. So, yeah.
Is it different? There's a lot of times when you watch Eli throw and he throws from different platforms. You never know where a pass is going to come from a lot of times with him. And it's a lot of fun to watch. What's that as a wide receiver being out knowing that, you know, he may scramble to the left, find an open hole and be able to hit you. What's that like in that relationship with Eli?
It really keep you on your toes instead of just like, you know, be sleeping on one side like, oh, he ain't gonna throw me the ball. It really make you gotta like keep moving and keep your eyes on him because you never know what the situation could come to. You know what I'm saying? Like during practice, we kind of work on being quarterback friendly. So like if the play going to the other side of the field, you can still like kind of run over there just in case if he get in some trouble, he'll still have somebody to throw it to and get some yards off of it.
Talk about the offensive line. I know last year that was a big piece. We kind of started some pancake counters at times and had some fun with that during coaches' shows. But talk about your offensive line. What's that look like this year?
We think our offensive line is going to be pretty good for us. We got 4 out of 5 guys returning. The guy we graduated was Cortez's older brother, Nick. So being that we have 4 guys returning, I think it's going to work well for us. I mean, they're still learning a little bit. Had a lot of sophomore mistakes last year, but I mean, they're all juniors now. So I think they'll be fine overall. Just got to keep working.
Depth-wise, I know, you know, there were times last year you talked about Nick. Nick was a guy that played pretty beat up a lot last year. Yeah. How's the depth look on the offensive line?
I think we're pretty good. We got all of our defensive line is repping on offensive line. All of our offensive line is repping on defensive line. Now they don't have to play both ways, but they can. So I think our depth is fine this year as far as the offensive line goes.
Now talk about a few other guys. You've mentioned a few. I know we haven't talked anything about the backfield yet. I know a guy that was exciting to watch last year, Zay McDonald, was fun. You got some other dudes out back there. Talk about some other guys that we may want to keep an eye out throughout the year.
Yeah, Zamarian McDonald. He was a running back. He's a running back for us. He was a sophomore last year behind I think we had 2 seniors rotating in there, so he was getting some snaps where he could. He was big for us in that Warren game. We always knew he could play. When he was in the 7th grade, I mean, he was doing the same thing. So we're excited to see him run the ball this year. Got a couple of more sophomores coming up. Chase Slater, he's 6'4". I think he's about 175 pounds. He's going to be big for us in the passing game. We got Torrance Talbot Jr., who's another big-time receiver, I guess, in the class of 2028. He's going to be good for us. So even though we lost a lot, we're gaining a lot. You know, they're young, but they're experienced. They've played a lot of football. They've been in the system for a long time. So they understand the ins and outs of it. And I think they're going to be big for us.
So looking back at last year, there weren't. I mean, honestly, there weren't a ton of close games. But we've kind of asked everybody. So it may not be somebody you played last year. It just may be a game you're looking forward to. But a matchup, and I'll ask this to each of the players. Is there a game that you're looking forward to more than another? A matchup that you just enjoy playing in more than another? And we'll start down here with Cortez.
A matchup. You talking about regular season?
Regular season, posted, just somebody you're looking forward to playing this season.
You know, we go 1-0 every week, but I'm gonna be real with you. I don't too much care if it ain't state. I'm gonna be honest with you.
All right, Eli.
A match I'm looking forward to is probably Lono Jackrabbits. They showed us how easy it is to beat us because we didn't too much have any close games before that. So they really made us put everything on the line to win that game. They made us play with each other. They really showed us how good we can be, but also how bad we could be if we don't play with a team, if we don't play with heart. So I'm looking forward to that this season because it really, I feel like it was good for us in a sense. So we get our mind in it because it was right before the playoffs. So it made us think, well, if we don't play better than this, we're going to be out in the first round or second. So that's a game I'm really looking forward to this season.
The game I'm looking forward to is really Elkins because, not going to lie, last year when we lost to them, that kind of showed me, like, it really showed the whole team a lot that we need to work on and that we are beatable. Like, 'cause we was, like, winning games back-to-back. That kind of had us, I feel like that had us kind of thinking we just wasn't going to lose. And, like, you know, I feel like that L kind of brought us back to reality, kind of. And, you know, it made us realize we need to be, like, way more disciplined on both sides of the ball and special teams.
All right, so I'll finish up with this a little bit, but obviously I know you guys get to enjoy a little bit of extra with the Mill Sports Network, being it's like the most viewed network on our platform. And by the way, Trip Keeter will be back this year, so you guys should be excited to have Trip and D-Rob back on. But talk about this opportunity and being here and an opportunity to talk about Mills and get a little extra notoriety for yourselves.
I mean, this is big for us. You know, this is the first time they've experienced this. So it's good for them to get out and kind of be able to talk about the things that they've worked on this offseason and about the things they're looking forward to this upcoming season. So it's a great opportunity. We appreciate the opportunity, absolutely. And we're just looking forward to playing some football, man.
All right, well, Coach, we appreciate you guys joining us.
Yes,
and
sir, we appreciate you all.
Mills Comets, and appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
All right, we're here with Coach Clint Ashcraft and the Bolognia Eagles. Coach Ashcraft, you're in your second year at Bolognia. Pretty successful first year last year. Give us just a brief overview of what happened last year, how you end the season in the state playoffs, kind of some expectations this year, and then why don't you introduce the guys you brought with you?
Yeah, so last year I think coming into it being new, not knowing anybody and them not knowing me, I think it took us a while to gel. I felt like once the conference season started, we kind of came together and started playing really well. The back half of our schedule was loaded with the top teams in our conference. We were able to end up in I believe a three-way tie for second, all behind Farmington. Obviously, we played for a state championship. So pleased with how the first year went, especially with all the changes and things that we did. Ran up against Robinson in the playoffs. Obviously, a loaded team. Coach Escola does a great job, and we hung with them early. We faded late against those guys, but to come in the first year, make the playoffs with all the changes, I think overall I would say it was a successful year. Even though you want to be the last one playing, the last man standing, but when you look back at it from now to look back to when we started, I think we were very pleased with how the year went. I've got with me today Logan Bowers, inside linebacker. Blake Evans plays defensive end. Von Fronberger plays everything, H-back and tight end for us. And then Colson started at safety last year, and Colson's going to be our quarterback, I think, going into the season this year.
Now, Colson, you took a few snaps at quarterback last year, right?
Yes, sir.
Long line of great quarterbacks at Bolognia. And playing quarterback for your dad, so absolutely zero pressure coming into
No, absolutely not.
Just talk about that. Talk about stepping into that role now as a starting quarterback and what you've done in the offseason. Not only from a leadership role, but also just getting with your guys in the offseason, not only in practice, out of practice, but 7-on-7. Just talk about what you guys did.
I got a lot of buddies at Bolognia. We work hard. We get after it in the weight room. We get after it at practice, and there's been a few days where we stay and go over stuff, and that's good. And, going into this season, we're just looking to just beat as many teams as we can and just get after it.
I'd like to hear from the rest of you guys. We can start down here, but just, talk about what you did in the offseason, not only personally, but as a position group, and, what you guys need to get better and what you did work on.
We as a team been watching film, going over things that we can fix and things that we can build on based off of all of our seniors losing last year. So we've been just seeing what happened, and we get better off of that. So we'll be ready for when we got to play, whoever we play.
Just going off of that, we as a team have just been working hard in the weight room and staying with it at practice and working plays nonstop to help with coming into our new season.
Yeah, kind of back to what they said about the weight room. They make sure that we're always in the weight room, getting stronger every day. We're always watching film, getting better off of team camps and 7-on-7s. And we're making sure we run everything perfect in practice. We run it over and over again, so we're perfect.
Coach, talk about some of the offensive guys that aren't here that you're going to be relying on, and that the names we're going to hear on Friday nights.
Well, up front, I think Dallas Bryant will be a junior for us. He started for us as a sophomore, so leadership role for him at the helm on the offensive line. Jesse Shule will be a senior for us. That he was a backup, did have to play some for us, as you deal with the injuries and guys getting banged up. So those two guys up front are going to have to be key contributors and leaders as well. Offensively, man, the way we look right now, a lot of our guys are going to have to play both ways. I mean, we graduated a large senior class. This year's senior class, I think we were talking about in the truck on the way down here, I think there's 10. It's very small, and 2 of them are right here with me today, but we're going to have a lot of young guys on the field. We're trying to figure that out now through our team camps and 7-on-7 things that we've done. If this guy starts at H receiver, he can be the backup safety. If this guy starts at safety, he can be the backup X or Y or whatever we're doing. But we've got a lot of work to do there, and our guys are going to have to be in shape because we're just going to have to play a lot of guys both ways. Maybe not the whole game, but a lot of those skill kids for us are going to play a lot of snaps this year.
And what about the defensive side of the ball?
Well, I think Logan started 4 games last year. Is that something? Am I right on that?
Like 6.
6 games. So he was behind 2 seniors. But Logan's got a great understanding of what we're trying to do. So he's kind of he's the boss of the front end, and then we rely on our safeties in the back end. I believe, along with Logan, Dylan Good will be back. So we're looking at 9 new faces on defense as well. So again, a lot of those guys, everybody wants to know how your season's going to go. Can't answer that. It depends on how these guys that hadn't been under the lights play once the Friday night lights turn on. So I'm as excited about as anybody about getting out there and getting started, seeing who we are and what we can do.
And Colson, what type of offense are we going to see on a Friday night? Are you a dual threat? Are you more of a thrower? Are you more of a runner? What can we expect?
Probably a little bit of everything. We have a lot of run pass options. We got a lot of passes. We got a lot of runs. But it's just all over the place right now. So it'll be seeing a little bit of everything.
Gotcha. And he says a little bit of everything, Coach. Is that going to be dependent upon the teams and the defenses you play, or are you just coming out ready to run a little bit of everything?
Yeah, I just think, we don't know yet. But we're using, like I said, we've gone to 5 team camps, trying to figure that out. What's our identity going to be? What do we hang our hat on? I think one thing that I will say is from our first team camp, and we'll go to one more tomorrow, I've seen a lot of improvement in our guys. I've seen a lot of improvement, especially up front in the offensive line. Thought Coach Turner and those guys have done a good job over the summer getting better because, like I said, we only got 1 real starter back there. So I just think, along with kind of the forecast for our team, offensively, it's going to be what are we able to do each week against that opponent,
Coach, you talked about at the top there when you started about just going back to the 5A West and all the stuff that went on there. You had Farmington that had the kind of the Cinderella run there onto the state championship. And just everything that unfolded, like the Morrilton game with you guys. Obviously, the Morrilton-Farmington game that had, I think they're still scoring from that one. Just all the craziness that ensued. It's a lot of fun, but it also kind of raises your blood pressure a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough league. I think there's a lot of good coaches, a lot of good teams. This year you got Farmington's quarterback back, and we all know how phenomenal he was or the season that he had. Morrilton's quarterback's really good. Greenbrier's got the running back that I think is one of the best running backs in the state. Those 3 probably have got to be your leaders going into it if you're looking at returning people, returning starters for each group. So we're going to have our work cut out for us each week for sure.
So this is a personal question to either one of you guys. What player, collegiate or professional, that you model your game after, and tell us why?
Who wants that one? Go ahead.
I don't know. I don't really know.
You stumped him.
Nobody.
Well, let me ask this. What's that one game that you guys had last year? Either maybe a game that you thought you had and it slipped away, or maybe a game that was just really fun to play. What's that one game you guys are looking forward to play again on this year's schedule?
I'm looking forward to the Morrilton game. Last year that was a fun game. It was back and forth all night. And we've been going against them in team camps, and it's been really competitive. And so I'm looking forward to that game on Halloween night.
I'm really looking forward to the Alma game. That was a really good game last year. That was, I think, our closest game that we had to play last year, and that was a crap ton of fun for us.
Same for me, Alma, too. It was a really good game. Went in double overtime. Or overtime, my bad.
Yeah, it came down to the last play of the game. It was an exciting game. It was a lot of fun. And Alma, if you've been there, is a very hard place to play. And having been at Siloam and having played them for all those years, anytime you can go in there and win, that's a good win on the road at Alma's. And like they said, that was a very long game, and it was a lot of fun.
All right. Bolognia Eagles, that wraps it up. We appreciate you guys coming, and good luck this season.
Thank you. Appreciate you having us.
All right, up next we got the Southside Southerners led by head coach Kenny Simpson. Coach, I will pass it over to you for your opening statement. Introduce who you brought with you.
Yeah, man, excited to be here. You know, we had a pretty good year last year and looking to try to build on it. I got a good senior class returning, about 16 seniors. Brought 4 of them with me today, and I'll just start introducing them. Over to my far left, we have Lane Johnson, returning All-State lineman. Excited about what he's going to be able to do this year. Next to him, another All-State returner, Braden Simpson. Plays a little outside linebacker and H-back in our offense, or wing-back. We have Brody Dowdle, one of the leaders on our offensive line, makes all the calls at center. And then we have the leader on the back end of the defense over there, Blaine Baxter, who's one of all these guys are big leaders for us.
For sure. I'll tell you, Braden, I'll just go ahead and start with you. We always ask anybody that plays for old dad, or if it, female case for playing for mom. In your case, it's dad, obviously. And, I know that's fun growing up under coach and, getting to do all that. But what are the best ways that y'all kind of separate the home life from the football field?
So we don't, if I have a bad game or so, we don't really bring that up at home. It's more of a, we like to talk football, growing up football family. So we talk football all the time, but we don't really bring in the coaching aspect home. Like when he's dad when he's at home, and I'm just son. So.
Talking about we'll go ahead and get last season out of the way and then talk about this year. Like you said, it was a phenomenal run. I think, were you guys, was it 9-1? Or
13-1.
13-1, or regular season, okay, so yeah, you're undefeated going into postseason. So finished up 13-1, lost to the eventual champion, Arkadelphia. A lot of people lost. They were exceptional last year, but just that run, moving back down to 4A, kind of talk about just how much momentum that was for your program.
Yeah, it was neat to see. We had a pretty good year the year before, made the quarterfinals in 5A, so there was a lot of expectations. And then we had about 7 or 8 kids transfer in, really good kids, and had a good class coming back. So you kind of felt like we might be pretty good this year, but I didn't really know. We only had about 3 starters on offense that returned, and so as they got better and our offense got better, you started to go, we knew our defense was going to be good, and now it started to kind of come together. We stayed healthy, which is always a blessing when you're coaching, and got better each week. Our goal had been simply win the conference championship if we can, and when we did that, we said, okay, we'd like to play in Thanksgiving Friday. We've never done that, and we did that, and then we won that game, and now before you know it, you're playing Arkadelphia for a chance to go play at War Memorial, and these guys will probably tell you that we feel like we fell a game short, like we feel like we probably should have performed a little better in that game, but you don't get to go back and replay them. So we want to go back and enjoy the 13, but our goal all offseason has been to improve on the one that we didn't win.
Guys, we'll start with the right here, kind of just that's going to build off that, getting some stuff from you guys. I'm sure y'all are all very well aware of where the program was when Coach Simpson got there the first time to where it is now. Just to know that you guys were a part of that, just being a game away from state and kind of setting another standard for the upcoming players coming in later on. What does that mean to you guys?
I don't really know, honestly. I mean, I feel like the younger kids look up to us that are going to come into the program from the junior high, and the new sophomores that came in, I feel like they all looked up to us last year and the year before. So that's all I got to say.
Our sophomore class this year is really good. They had a good season last year in junior high, so they'll help us out a lot in the upcoming season.
I've kind of grown up, as he's dad, grown up through all the seasons and seen good, seen bad. It's really nice to be part of a class that's 23 and 3 or so. It's really nice to see the program finally take big steps forward.
It means a lot to me. I mean, I've been here my whole life. I can still name all the seniors I used to look up to when I was being a little ball boy in 3rd grade or something. So I like seeing the impact that I know that we will have on the younger ones, even if it doesn't seem that big.
While you've got the floor, I've got to ask you, being an offensive lineman named Lane Johnson, you got to take pride in that. One of the best, maybe the best in the NFL when he's healthy. So is that maybe someone that you model your game after a little bit?
Very in certain aspects of it. I mean, him and a mixture of others, but yes.
Yeah, awesome. Speaking of offense, Coach, we've had countless conversations, love the gun tee, and you're going to have a new offensive coordinator this year. Brock May, of course, took the head coaching job at Greenland. Great football family he comes from, and so I imagine things won't look a whole lot different, but, new coach there.
Yeah, we're excited to bring in Coach Holmes. You know, he's going to add a whole new element to us. We brought Coach Goulds in the back of the audience there. I think one of the best offensive line coaches. It's a collaborative effort. You know, I think all three of us work together to figure out what's going to happen, and it always goes a lot better when you have really good players. And we've had that the last 2 or 3 years, so hopefully we'll be able to continue in that vein.
Speaking of Coach Holmes, obviously very well known for strength and conditioning, as Gage Wood said a few times on national TV, so got a lot of good exposure there. He's a great coach, obviously, but what does he bring to your strength and conditioning program? I know he does more than just football for Southside.
Absolutely. You know, I think there's he's definitely very gifted in what he does in the weight room. I think there's something to be said when you look at a guy and he still looks like a Greek god. You know, he's out there teaching your kids to lift weights. You're going to listen to that guy when he tells you things. We were blessed to have Brock May before, kind of the same deal, but there's a lot of, when you look at a guy and you go, okay, this guy's been there and done it, and these kids can watch him. They're not going to take a lot of strength advice from me, but if we bring in a guy like him, they're going to listen, and he's done a great job, and all of our coaches have done a great job with our kids.
And then, you know, obviously, you guys always run the ball exceptionally well, so we'll talk about the run game. And then you touched on defense as well. We talked some about that. So talk about maybe some of the newcomers. I guess Andrew Plummer was one that was incredibly productive for you, and he's gone. So maybe someone that will fill his role as well as some other new ones to watch.
Yeah, we're excited for, you know, I think this year kind of role reversal. Last year we thought our defense would be ahead and our offense had to catch up, and probably this year it'd be reversed because we bring back a lot of our offense. Blaine is leading that young group of DBs over there. We were able to add Braden York, transferred to us from Midland. He's a really exceptional corner. Trey Allen returns for us at quarterback and corner. And then we've added one of the 10th graders there mentioned, Carson McSpadden, on the back end. Have a chance to have one of the best back end of the defenses we've had in a while. Let us move Braden up to linebacker. He'll kind of fill a lot of Andrew and Cameron Forey's role. We have Gentry, Hoskins, we have Leighton Neal, another senior, and we have Drayden Holsey. I think our linebacker crew might be one of the best by the time it's all said and done. And right now we're working on our defensive line. All three of them are gone, and so we're having to kind of plug and play. And you know, Lane may be playing a little both ways before it's all said and done. I think if that group comes along, our defense can be pretty good.
The players can touch on this too. When you look at your non-conference schedule, Forest City, a former 5A East folk, of course the guys that just walked in, Hamburg, you got them as well, and then Batesville, which I know is a massive one for all of you in here. So talk about how important that was, keeping that Batesville matchup on there. Obviously, it's huge for the towns. Say towns, because Southside is its own town. So how big is that for all you guys? And again, the players can input as well.
I'll let y'all go. This one's from Batesville, so I'll let him go first. Yeah.
It just felt good beating them after I moved from there. I just don't really have much to say about them.
Okay, Brody.
I got a lot of friends from Batesville, and you know, it's good to show off in front of them, you know, with the trophy.
It's always fun when you're playing your friends because, like as Brody said, we're friends with some of them there, and so we'll play them on Friday night, and then we'll be hanging out with them on Saturday, and so it's nice to beat them and we'll hold something with their head.
I just want to get it checked off. I mean, I don't really care who it is. Just want to win.
Awesome. Coach, we'll get a little bit more into that. I know I ask you this every time we talk, but talking about the gun tee, just kind of like a refresher, because not a lot of people see that, that maybe they don't play you or whatever the case may be. So kind of talk a little bit about that, just the uniqueness of that offense.
Sure. Well, it's funny that Clinton's in here because we used to hate playing coach over there because they'd run the wing tee, and it was kind of almost boring, but you never could stop it. And it was like, my goodness gracious, if I ever get a chance, we need to run that because we never stopped them. So we said, okay, let's take that and let's back it up in the shotgun and try to add in some of the modern RPO, motions, shifts. But the base of it is the old wing tee, and a lot of people don't see that. So when you run into that, and now we've got a quarterback that can spin it a little bit, it's really hard to defend because are you going to commit to the run and open up? We have a lot of times we don't throw it much, but when we do, they're pretty wide open. Or are you going to play back and just let us kind of 4-yard you to death? And so it puts you in a really bad position. It helps, again, get 2 All-State guys there on the edge blocking for buck sweep. It tends to work a lot better when you're bringing these guys in there. So that the players make a huge difference, but that's kind of where the element of it came from.
Nice. Yeah, and Braden, I know you've got some offers. I'm not sure you guys can weigh on this too, that are maybe talking to some colleges. We hadn't really talked a whole lot of recruiting today. I know we did with volleyball yesterday. But Braden, just kind of talk about, recruiting it's a lot different, obviously, than it used to be, even half a decade ago. So what are some advice that you can give to a kid that's going through that entire process?
It's definitely all about connections. I feel like you can post all you want on, social media and stuff, but I feel like it's finding somebody who has connections on the second level. So for me, it's him. He's coach, so he's out in the coaching world. But I'd just say find somebody that you know or somebody in your area that has connections with colleges, or they're just even like went to that college maybe, and they can help you out a lot.
And I know Lane kind of just said, he's just basically worried about the next one. Is there any kind of game in particular? And you guys, you won, I guess, everyone but Arkadelphia last year, so you took care of business. But is there anyone, whether it be non-conference or in-conference play, that you might have circled just ready to see?
I'm ready to see Pocahontas again. Last year was a tough game. We beat them by like 3 points. What was it? It was close, but I want to run it back with them.
Highland's going to be a good game for us this year. Pretty close game last year. Had to fight hard for it.
Definitely Highland. It was a 7-point game, and we get to go there now, and it's hard to win, on the road. So we'll see how that goes.
Pocahontas, because it exposed a lot of our struggles that showed us what we need to work on. I want to see if we've made growth there.
Talking about the close game at Pocahontas and those ones you had, of course, the Forest City one, I know, to start the year, a lot of athleticism over there that they had. So talking about closing out those close games, a lot of times it's, you might blow somebody out or whatever the case may be, but being able to finish those close games like that when the final horn sounds.
Yeah, ultimately, that's what separates the good from the great teams is I think we had 4 or 5 wins that were, one-score game at one point in the fourth quarter, and I think that speaks to a few things. One, I think it speaks to the mental toughness of the guys that are sitting up here because there was a lot of time. In Highland, we throw a pick six to start the fourth quarter, and now we're tied and we got to make something happen. Pocahontas, everything that could go wrong went wrong. We're down 7-3, and we got to go to an offensive set we've run like twice. And so a lot of things could have gone wrong, but I thought our mental toughness from our kids was great. I think the other advantage we have is we do a really good job, I feel like, developing depth. Our non-conference game, we want to win those, but our goal is to play 40 kids so that when we get into the meat of these games, the Pocahontas, the Highland, Gosnell, the playoff games, when it's fourth quarter, we've got every kid on our roster has played in some big moments in those non-conference games, so they're ready for when that time comes.
Talk about your community support a little bit. As I mentioned a little earlier, I guess really most of the Southside success has been kind of in the past 10, 15 years or so. And you've always been very, very vocal about how much support you do get from the community. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, we wouldn't be where we are. None of the players would, the coaches wouldn't without an administration like ours. We've got, I think I've served under 2 superintendents at Southside, and they've been phenomenal. And because of that, they've allowed us to go reach out to the community. We've actually, the shirt I'm wearing right now is First Community, so shout out for them hosting this. They sponsored our polos this year, and we've got other banks that sponsor different things. And so I don't think we've been told no when we go ask for something for our kids. I think that the mindset from the admin being kids first makes it easy to go ask for things because they know we're just giving it right back to our community.
All right, guys, we really appreciate y'all coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're back with Coach Dufresne, the Clinton Yellow Jackets. Coach, just you had a really good, successful season last year.
Yes.
Give us a brief overview of that for people that don't know. And then, expectations this year, and then why don't you introduce the guys that you brought with you?
Okay. Well, we had a really good year, went 9-3, won a playoff game, and, had 2 games that we would really like to play back, but you can't. Had a tough Dardanelle game and let Mina beat us, and that's the one we would really like to have back. But we got a lot of guys back. We got 20 seniors, brought 3 of them with me. First guy is Alec Huey. He plays offensive tackle, plays some defensive line. He is actually going to be a 4-year starter, 3 years all-conference, made all-conference as a 9th grader, 10th grader, 11th grader, really good football player for us. Then you got Brody Dufresne. He's going to be a 3-year starter for us at quarterback, played quarterback for me all the way through. And then got Zach Hunt, who is fullback. He plays linebacker, hardly ever comes off the field, made All-State last year, All-Conference, I think, as a 10th grader. So got 3 really good football players for us. And like I said, we got 20 seniors. That group has pretty much been together since they were in 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade. Fun watching them grow up together and be a team for that long. So.
Well, since you start off with the little kid here on the end, that's where it all starts with Clinton football is the offensive line.
Yes, sir.
So who's going to be joining him on the offensive line?
We got pretty much all of them back. We lost a right tackle and our tight end, but we got Alec back. He'll be our left tackle. We got Eden. He'll be our left guard beside Alec. They played together a couple years together. Cree Brown, a senior back at center. He'll be like a 3-year starter for us. Right guard probably be Hayden Jones, Larry Swan. They kind of swap out there, offense, defense, and play guard. We'll have a new right tackle. Still got about 3 guys battling for that spot, and then a couple of guys at tight end working. So, but most of them are seniors, and we're going to run behind those guys. He's going to run behind them, and they block for each other well. Running backs do. But we can also throw the ball. We had a successful year throwing the ball, sort of like what Coach Simpson says. When we do throw it, a lot of times it's touchdowns because the guys quit playing us because we're running the ball, and then we bust them for a big one. So.
Well, since we're on that topic, we can start with you, Brody, but I'd like to hear from both of you guys. How much fun, and you've been obviously in your dad's system for a while, but how much fun is it to do something completely different than everybody else is doing, right? The trend is to spread it out and throw it 50 and 60 and 70 times a game. But then teams come and play you, and these defenses a lot of times just aren't ready. But I'd like to hear from both of you guys, but Brody, just how much fun and different is it?
I love it. It's a whole different game plan, so teams are just scheming up something a whole lot different. And like you was talking about, we run it all the time, so it opens up something big for me once or twice a game, and I really love that. So I like airing it out too. So yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I love the wing tee. Being a fullback, it's kind of like everybody's dream. Our right guards are like, "Hey, I want to be a fullback. How do I do that?" But it's really fun, getting to run behind such a great offensive line too, and then having a coach who, 4th and 1, trusts you to go get that 1 yard. And then we have Rylan Jones, who's a running back, who's all conference. He was like top yards, had one of the top rushing yards in the state throughout the first 3 weeks. He blocks amazing. We block for each other. It's awesome.
And this is directed for all the players because I'd really like to hear, you guys have been there, you're starting, you've been starting, this is your 4th year. Talk about now, you're stepping into a new leadership role. So what did you guys do in the off season to kind of step into that new leadership role to where you're, instead of being one of the younger guys come along, you're now bringing the younger guys along?
So I faced some adversity last season and some in the off season that I didn't expect. I've never seen before with injuries. I think that really helped me. I'm very thankful for that time. I grew my relationship with God really a lot during that time. And I like to lead. I can't talk very well, I'm not a good speaker, but I like to lead by example, And I think I've done a good job of being able to be a good role model for the younger guys. you know, and also being able to point back to who got me there, you know.
Yeah, I think being a leader, it's a lot different. Last year we had some good leaders who made us do what we needed to do. Like if it was get stronger in the weight room, they'd push us to do that. And I kind of like having that role now where we can keep our players accountable and get them better and get stronger. It's just a great thing. It makes you feel good about yourself to get them in the weight room and do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, it's great being a leader on the defense, on the offense, and all of our seniors, even the ones who don't play, the ones on the scout team, you know, they're pushing us to get better as well. Everybody's pushing each other. It's just amazing. It's awesome to be a part of it.
Coach, tell us a little bit about some of the defensive guys that we're going to expect to see, you know, and know you have a few returning starters, breaking in a lot of younger guys, though, in those roles. So talk to us about your defense, you know, from defensive line on back to the secondary.
Yeah, I mean, our defensive line is going to be our big question right now. We lost all 4 guys up front in our 4-3 defense, so been working a lot of guys. Alec didn't play much defense last year. He'll probably be working back down there. We've been working Zach a little bit. He's a linebacker. We put him at DN some this spring and this summer, see how that goes. But so we're trying to fill in some gaps there. We got some great young guys, some older guys that are stepping into those roles. But our linebacker core is really good. Briar Gadberry's back. He was our leading tackler. Got Zach back at linebacker. We got a couple of other linebackers that are filling that 3rd spot. And then our secondary is all back. You got Colton Warren, who was a 2 or 3 year starter at corner. You got Caleb McCarver, who started 2 or 3 years at safety. Sam Standards is going to start at safety for his 2nd year. Harold McNabb, Ryland, and Briar Cullums we got more guys in the secondary than we probably had in a long time, which may allow us to bring some guys down to fill that other linebacker spot so we can put Zach where we need him. Zach's going to kind of go where we think they're going to run the ball a lot.
You know, Clinton's one of those towns, it's just a special town that truly embraces all high school sports, not just football, but really embraces football. You know, I'd like to hear from you first, Coach, but then all 3 of the guys. Just talk about how much that means to be playing for at a place like Clinton where the whole community embraces you.
It doesn't matter if it's football, basketball, baseball, softball. When we go on the road, a lot of times we got more fans than the home team. Our family, our parents of the kids, people show up to the games in the community. They have no dog in the fight anymore, and they're there. And it's great to look up in the stands, and we have more than the home team sometimes, which is good. And that goes for basketball, football. I mean, any sport that we're in, our community's there. They're supporting us, and that, you know, when we have not so good years, they're there. It doesn't matter if it's a 9-3 year or a 3-7 year. Our fans are there and supporting us. So it meant a lot. It's been a great place for me. I'm probably the most blessed man in football. I've been there 29 years in Clinton, raised 4 kids there, and it's been an awesome experience for me and my family to be part of that community.
Yeah, I really love it because, like Coach said, we have more fans than the home team usually, and it's just really awesome to see them come support us, win, lose, or tie. You know, it's really more than just football in Clinton.
There's a lot of special moments Friday nights. There's tons of fans there. Most of the time they're standing up along the fences because all the seats are taken. That's a great moment to look up and see. And also one of my favorite moments is when we're on a playoff game. They'll send us off and we'll drive just kind of through Clinton, and there'll be about fans at every store, anything like that, with signs and just saying "Go Jackets," and it's a great thing to see, and it really gives you a good confidence boost for sure.
Yeah, just to piggyback off Brody, every time we go to state, everybody, all the fans are sitting out there outside the shops. The churches are always super helpful. They always feed us every game day or something like that, and they're always willing to help support us. And, you know, it's just amazing being in a community like that.
You know, I'm going to piggyback off what Coach said to kind of start it off, that great season, but there were a few games that you guys were right there that maybe even slipped away.
Yeah.
Is there that one game that kind of slipped away last year that you're really looking forward to, to playing again this year?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we want to beat Dardanelle. We're going to give it everything we got. They're a super talented team, but we're going to play hard like we did last year. We had some chances last year, had some breaks go against us, but probably the Mena game haunts me the worst. I mean, it was a home game. We just let things kind of slip through our fingers in that one, and that's one I would like to roll back and play again. But hey, we get them on the road this year, and we've been looking forward to this year. Like I said, this group been a special group to me. When you got that many seniors, your son in that group, it's just been a fun group to be around for that many years.
Yeah, I'd say Dardanelle, just because it was a close game till half. Then Alec got hurt, and we had to throw in somebody at left tackle really quick. And, it's just something you want to beat a really good team and show others that you're a really good team as well. And so I think that's just the team we want to beat.
I'm going to have to go with Mena as well. Like he said, I think we left a lot on the table. Football's a game of momentum, and there was a lot of momentum swings that game, and I just think that it could have been closer, and I think we'll give them a better game this year for sure.
I was talking with our defensive coordinator, Coach Benson, a couple weeks ago, and I think we kind of agreed. Right now, I think I'm ready to play Harmony Grove in week 0. I've kind of let that pass go, and I think I'm ready to take things week by week. So Harmony Grove is who I'm looking forward to right now.
All right. Well, that wraps it up for the Clinton Yellow Jackets. We appreciate you guys coming down, and good luck to y'all this season, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, up next is the Hamburg Lions, led by head coach Blake Johnson. Coach, I will go ahead and give you the floor to introduce who you brought with you and give your opening statement.
Yes, sir. First, I want to thank y'all for having us out here. I got 4 seniors with me. We got 18 seniors on the team this year. I'll start. We got Rhett Flowers. Rhett Flowers moved to us in December from CrossFit. He's a senior defensive end. We got Keavion Brown. He's a 4-year starter at receiver for us. Nikel Lewis, 3-year starter, All-State running back. And then we got senior Michael Ramos, who starts on the offensive line and defensive line.
First couple of years trying to set the culture. I think it was 3 each. And each of those wins last year, you had 8. Just a great season, and then come in this year with very high expectations. I think you guys were picked by the coaches right behind Warren in second place. So now that you got a little bit of pressure, how do you guys embrace that?
And it's all credit to these guys. I came in 4 years ago, and all these guys were freshmen, and we kind of talked about changing the culture and putting Hamburg back on the map. And they've come to work every single day. 6:30 in the morning in the summers. I know everybody does it, but these guys are showing up. They're working hard. It's hot outside. They don't complain, and they get after it. And it showed last year. We finally figured out how to win some games. And like I said, we went to the playoffs, won 8 games, had a big playoff win after traveling 6 hours up there to grab it. So that's just a testament to the work these guys have put in. And we're returning a lot of guys, 8 on offense and 7 on defense. So just building off of what we did last year is really exciting coming up.
Talking about the backfield, as you mentioned, Nikel did some great things for you, but Peyton Sellers, he was playing video games pretty much every week. You had to replace him. Who are some ones that might step up in his place?
So, yeah, it's hard to replace Peyton Sellers' 197 tackles, Defensive Player of the Year. But we have a sophomore linebacker, Aiden Robinson, who's really kind of showed out this summer and taken over that middle linebacker role. He's going to be young. But we have all the confidence in them. We're returning pretty much our whole D-line. We lost one guy off the D-line last year, so that's really going to help, keep some guys off of him and help him go as the season goes. He's going to continue to get better. We're returning Jace Harrington, 2-year starter at linebacker, so that experience is really going to help at the linebacker position.
I wanted to ask the players, we'll start from the right over here. Coach touched on the trip to grab it. I'm pretty confident that was the furthest trip of anybody, of any classification in the entire playoff format. So talk about what you guys, like what the coaches had put in your heads as far as just like, the mindset to have, and then going on that long road trip and then taking down the Lions up in the NWA.
Well, first off, they were saying like they were a bigger school and that they were undefeated and this and that, and just to have a good mindset, not get too confident and just overthink it.
Yes, sir. It's me. Like we wouldn't pick the win, so like we went in the week knowing we had to win, and like teams, and like it was a long trip. We stayed focused, we worked hard, and we went up there and took care of business.
Oh, they told us to deal with the adversity. Oh, cause it was cold, like below. How many degrees?
It was cold.
It was real cold. Like we not used to playing in cold weather like that. And going that far to travel, so it was something to adapt to.
He wasn't with us last year.
Oh, that's right. Came over from Cross. Talking a little bit, obviously, everybody knows about the receivers that Warren us into the NFL and some of that as far as, Southeast Arkansas football. Monticello's obviously been another really quality team. They've got high expectations this year. Just kind of talking about the 8-4A a little bit for those that might not be aware of it.
And I think it's the SEC of high school football in Arkansas. I came from the 5A Central, which was really tough. I coached, in the 6A at Pine Bluff, against West Memphis, Marion, and, there were some games that you can get by with there. Here, if you take a week off, you're gonna get beat, and it's not even gonna be close. It's gonna be ugly. So you got to go in every week prepared. You're gonna see something different. Like you said, Warren, they're gonna sling it around. They got some really good receivers, and then you play Monticello, who's returning an entire offensive line and a really good running back who's going to run it right at you. So you just got to change your mindset and really be focused. And there's not an easy week, but we are blessed because playing in that conference now, when you go to a grabber, you go to something, you've seen everything. You've seen some really good talent, so it prepares you for the playoffs.
And for the guys, just kind of building off what I was saying, some of the things that you might have learned from Grab It. What were some things that you may have learned from last season? As Coach said, he came in when you all were freshmen, and that's about the time that you guys really started to understand the culture that he and his staff were trying to set. So what were some things coming off of this 8-win season that you guys worked on individually to perfect your craft?
Well, during that week, I had broke my thumb, and so I learned to like use my left hand more, cause I never really used my left hand or really my hands at all. I usually just led with my head, so I learned to use my hands more instead of just using your body.
Like, we won 8 games, but coach tells us every day that ain't enough. We come to work out every day knowing that it ain't enough. We just got to keep winning.
I learned that football is a team sport, not a one-person sport. So everybody got to work as a team to get the win.
Everybody, like in the morning times, it shows a lot whenever everybody wants to work as a team, and it's definitely not a one-man sport like he was saying. If you work as a team, I think we can this year be really, really good and go really, really far if we work as a team this year.
Coach, you mentioned being at Pine Bluff and then came to Hamburg from Whitehall. Of course, you were on the Bobby Boulding staff, in my opinion, probably top 15 at least, top 15 coach that's ever walked the sidelines in Arkansas. Guys went to the state championship. Your final year there is, I guess, D.C. So what were some things that you took from Coach Boulding and some of the other mentors that you've had?
Coach Boulding was great to me. He threw me into the fire early. Going from Pine Bluff to Whitehall as a defensive coordinator, just how he structures the program, how he does things. And I took a lot of that with me to Hamburg. I put my own little tweak on a few things, but just the watching how hard he worked, to get where he is. He had good athletes, but he put in the time. He had me up there at 8 a.m. on Saturdays and Sundays, just learning from him, being able to take that and take it to Hamburg. And then I got young coaches and trying to do what he did for me and get them to the next level and help them learn more has really been good.
As far as your non-conference, you got McGee, that's another legendary coach, and Marcus Haddock, been around for a while. Dumas, I know they've got some youngsters, especially, one running back coming up that's really good. And then, of course, Magnolia, that's got a load of college prospects as well. And we talked a good bit with a lot of coaches today about preparing yourself for conference play and ultimately preparing yourself for the postseason. Talk about that scheduling in the non-conference.
So I think it's important to schedule playoff-like games early. Want to get you ready for conference. Two, we played McGee and Dumas. They were in our conference when I first got here. Me and Coach Lovelady are good friends, so I wanted to keep that on the schedule. And then I like starting off with McGee. Like you said, Coach Haddock has won a lot of football games, and when you go to McGee or they come to you, it's going to be a very physical game. So just starting the year off like that, kind of getting our guys tuned up and acclimated to the physicality of Friday night football. And then Magnolia is a little bit bigger school. They got twice as many kids as we do. So just that really shows how conditioned we are going into the playoffs. And of course, they're going to have a lot of talent, so we better be ready to play.
Also talked today about a lot of the community support, and you guys are deep South Arkansas. How far are you from the Louisiana border? Just
40 minutes. 30 minutes from Bastrop, 40 minutes from Monroe.
So real close there, deep South Arkansas. And I know anytime people think in Arkansas, they think of Scottie Pippen and things like that, and rightfully so. Talk just a little bit about your community support. Obviously, you've been there now for 4 years, so been good to you, and just kind of talk about how that's been a big key in building your program.
Absolutely. And the community of Hamburg has been great. First, to me and my family, moving down there. I'm from Texas originally. I'd never heard of Hamburg, Arkansas before I got the job. So they really took us in, and it's a family, and they take care of these guys. You heard some other schools say earlier, we don't have to worry about a meal. Church is going to feed us. Somebody's going to come cook. They provide popsicles, all that. But then showing up to the game, you look, we finally started winning some games last year, and of course more people came. But you look up into the stands and some home games and playoff games, there's not a seat. And it's been great. The school district is great. The admin, we just got a new superintendent, and he made it clear that he's with us win or tie. So he's been really good though, and just the support feels like a family. Anytime any of these guys need something, I need something, you ask, you're going to get it. So it really makes you feel like home.
Guys, is there any game in particular, as we've talked about, just a great, really, I guess you could call it fair to say a rebound season last year. Is there maybe that 1 or 2 games that you feel maybe got away from you that you get another chance at, whether conference or non-conference this year, that you're excited to play?
I would say for sure both the Monticello games. because we started off the playoff game pretty good. Off of, I think opening drive, we started off with the touchdown, and then we just slacked off during the second half. And then DeWitt, we scored good, but they still put up at least, I think, 30 points on us. And I think that's the two main teams I'd like to get back on.
Like he said, Monticello, but we ain't taking no team lightly. We're going in there every week. Like he said, the conference hard. You never know. We got to come in, just go play and win the game. That's all it is.
I'm going to definitely say DeWitt. That was the most competition we had. I feel like we could have won that game.
Even though I wasn't here last year at this school, I'm really ready for the CrossFit and Hamburg game because it's in CrossFit this year. That game is going to be a really, really physical game. It's going to be very competitive. I'm ready for that game.
That's what I was going to follow up with, just getting your thoughts, coming over from CrossFit, being in the same conference. What is kind of your thoughts of playing these guys previously? Now you're obviously wearing the same uniform as them, but just playing against them before.
Yes, sir. Well, coming over, the transfer was really easy. The coaches and the whole staff, the community, they really made it easy for me to make a good transfer. And being with these guys and wanting to, work hard every morning, it really, it's gonna pay off during the game. And just really ready for that game this season. And I think it's going to be a really good game. And I know how a lot of those guys play, and I'm really familiar with a lot of those guys, on and off of the field. And so it's going to be a really good game. And I'm ready for it.
Coach, wrapping things up here is for the final question. I was going to ask, what is a piece of advice, whether just a couple of things or just one key thing that you've really pointed at as far as this rebuild has gone? Because a bunch of coaches go through that where they're having to come in, set a culture, and really just kind of change some things around. So someone that has taken over a program that has experienced some struggles, what's the best piece of advice you could give them?
I would say, the motto we've had since I got here is win the day. Come in, you're not going to come in on a 2-8 team and win a state championship immediately. You're going to have to take it day by day and really attack each day. And I think these guys have done that, attack each game. Week at a time. Right now we're looking at McGee, week 1. That's our first game, and that's really going to tell us where we're at as a program. So just take it day by day and keep pushing. We've kind of transitioned now, to win the day, and then our DB coach, co-DC, he's really instilled in me 1% better. And I know some of these guys take that. Every time you work out, you can get 1% better. So find some way to get better every single day, and it's going to pay off on Friday night.
Guys, really appreciate y'all making the trip up.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, back with Coach Stowers. Is it Stowers?
Yes, sir.
I thought that's what I thought. Back with Coach Stowers and the Highland Rebels. Coach, another really good year last year. Briefly discuss that year for people who are watching that don't know how well of a season you guys had last year. Give some brief expectations for this year, then why don't you introduce the guys that you brought with you?
Sure. First of all, I'll go ahead and introduce these guys. So here on my right, we have Lexon Johnson, who all these guys are juniors, so we'll just get that out real quick. Lexon Johnson plays outside linebacker and running back for us. Raymond Demison is a defensive end, outside linebacker, H-back type guy. Jimmy Jensen is a wide receiver and a defensive back. And then Austin Christie here on the end is our starting quarterback. Just kind of touch on last year. These guys, when they were freshmen, they all got to move up. They were a big part of that 7-4 team my very first year as the head coach there. And then they had a really good sophomore season. Kind of a weird year. We battled through some things that not going to get into here, but it was kind of a tough time for our community for a little bit. Hopefully something that we never got to go through again, really that anybody has to go through. So it was just something that kind of, stuck with us, and we had a reason to come to work every day and to play. And these guys I told them the other day, you guys make what we do enjoyable. I don't even really consider it a job. They're just enjoyable to be around. And this last year, every day, they were ready to come in and go to work and get better every day. And so to move on to this year, expectations are obviously a little bit higher. We're junior heavy. I think we've got 8 seniors. So these guys, again, have grown physically, mentally. They've grown together. Now that they compete. They compete with each other. They're after each other every day, but at the end of the day, they love each other. And it's probably the closest group that I've had, obviously as a head coach, and probably my 8-year career at Highland as a group, as a whole.
Well, you said the expectations this year are even higher. You made the second round last year, so that leads me to believe that expectations are making to the state championship game. Are those the expectations this year? Sure.
I think those are always goals for everybody. But one thing we've kind of talked about before, I think there's realistic goals. There's 2 teams that make the state finals, and there's 47 4A teams or 48. Obviously, conference championships we've talked about. We've been conference runner-up the last 2 years. Southside moves back down. They were really good last year. And 21-14 game, one-score game there. It was an awesome environment, awesome game. So 2 years in a row of conference runner-up. Obviously that next goal there is conference championship. Yes, from these guys being freshmen, we can't get out of that first round. Well, then they come to be a sophomore, and we get out of the first round, and we're able to go to Malvern in the second round. And we got the injury bug late, week 10. We lost our quarterback. Actually, we lost our all-state running back. And I think 4 plays later, we lost our quarterback. So we're having to throw guys in that, hasn't played quarterback all year. And then we threw Jimmy in, who he had actually broke his kneecap about a year prior, re-hurt it against Southside. So he misses 3 games, and then he comes back week 10 just to dress out and say he's part of the team. And lo and behold, we have to throw him in. And it gives me chills talking about it, but it's a storybook game there. And if you know anything about how that went down, it was awesome. Just in terms of, these guys go down, it is literally the next guy up, and we found a way to get it done. And so back to expectations, I think, obviously if we get past that second round, we talk about practicing on Thanksgiving. I got to do that as a player, and obviously a coaching goal for me is to do it as a coach. So we've talked about that, and so those daily goals, that just getting better each and every day, you've got to be able to measure that. And so how can we do that? These guys have got some things that they want to do individually, but as a team, we do have goals, and so we're going to go from there.
A question for all 4 of you guys. We can start with you down here, Austin. How do you stay motivated, right? How do you stay on your teammates, not on your teammates, but yourself, to be like, we made it to the second round. That's good, man. Let's just coast now. So how do you stay on yourself and your teammates throughout the off season to say, no, we want that next level. We do want that conference championship. We do want to go all the way and play in Little Rock.
Well, honestly, I think it's just being able to show up to practice every day, have our coach here to motivate us to be there. He works us harder than usual, to be honest, and we're very thankful for that, and we really want to get to the next round of playoffs, if not state. But like Coach said, we need to take it game by game and do our thing.
Well, we show up. We lost last year. Southside was our only loss, and I feel like as a group, we obviously want conference champs this year, but just like I feel like we have a little bit of chip on our shoulder. Like we lost, we had injuries going into state. We feel like that was probably our year, and then injuries hit us. So I feel like we're motivated to get further in the playoffs because we feel like we got, I don't know how to say it, but we just got cut short of playoff run there because of injuries.
I really just think we're all motivated because we're all just wanting to go to the next level and push ourselves to do better at each game. And honestly, just coming to football every morning, every day during the summer, working out, running, it's just fun, honestly. Being with all your dudes, and living life with all your dudes playing football.
Coach Showers motivates us all. Great dude. Our players, my teammates. We grew up playing together. Football is probably one of our favorite sports, I'd say. And we just, love the game, like winning, our rival. In junior high, we all fought for that game. It was amazing. Just that grit. We have grit, I'd say.
Coach, in the non-conference last year, I know you had 1 week off before, I think actually 2 before you started conference play. So now that you've basically got, I know you got a bye week before conference begins, but be able to basically get a full schedule now in the regular season, how big is that so that you're not sitting at home for 2 weeks?
It's awesome. And before I go on that, I've done this ever since our season. I don't know if you guys know Coach Airy at Mountain Home, but we were not able to play week 2, I believe it was, against Riverview. We had an incident take place that we just weren't able to make that game, and so Coach Airy actually allowed us to come over and play a JV game, literally at the last minute. So everything that Mountain Home District, Mountain Home football program, Coach Airy, he's an awesome guy. So we're very grateful for that as a community and a football program. So I just wanted to give him a little shout out before we move on to that. So, but moving forward this year, we're obviously hoping to have a full schedule again, and so. We picked up kind of a weird deal. We've had to pick up 2 new games in the middle of a cycle, which is hard to do. Piggott dropped us, and so we actually picked up Thayer, Missouri, who they're very similar to Salem, actually. So Coach Weber at Salem was at Thayer forever, and so it's basically a spitting image of those guys, and so they're going to be ground and pound football. They're big, they're physical. We've seen them all summer, so we get Thayer at home. And then we get Brooklyn out of Jonesboro, so they're going to come to us week 1. We dropped Mountain Grove, Missouri, and so we picked up Brooklyn, who, they're going to be big from what I understand. We don't get to see them very often, but they're big up front. I'm not really sure what they have skill-wise, but Coach Hinsley does a really good job with those guys. And so, anytime you go up a classification, they're probably going to be, just because they finish whatever they finished in the 5A East. Well, they're a 5A school, so they're going to give us all we want. And then week 2, we get to come down here to Riverview and Searcy. And so I'm not really sure about, I know they hired a new coach. I'm not really sure much about them. Haven't heard or haven't seen. But, then we go into the bye week for conference. So we've got to make the most of those non-conference games before we get to that bye week and, hopefully stay healthy and kind of knock the wrinkles out of everything and kind of get our groove going before we get there.
To the players, I know one of you touched on it. Other than the Malvern loss, the only blemish was a 7-point loss to Southside. And obviously Southside went on to the state semifinals. They spoke highly of you guys earlier. So what was something that y'all took, from that game, just coming up a little bit short in conference, that you're going to put forth towards this year?
That game was well fought. It came down to, I think, the last minutes. I'd say it was one of my best games. I think, we just got to play hard every game like that game, and we had a chip on our shoulder for that. They were saying it was the conference. That was going to be the conference game determined, and just got to play hard like that game every game.
Honestly, the Southside game, I wasn't actually ready for it because I was just off of an ankle injury, and I really didn't get to play that much, but I was just nervous, scared of messing up my ankle, but we all fought together and pushed ourselves to the max limits. And we didn't come out with the win, but we still tried hard.
So I actually got hurt in the first quarter of the Southside game. But from what I could tell, as a team, you know, at halftime we're all down. But after halftime, we all went on a little rally, and we had some determination to go out there and win the game. We were down touchdown at halftime, I think, and we just started rallying. We had a couple big plays coming out of half, but it just wasn't enough.
Like Jimmy said, he went out first half of the game, big part of our offense, but we had some guys to step up to make plays when we needed them. And like Raymond said down there, it came down to the last minute of the game. They got the lucky end of it, I guess. But hopefully we'll get them this year.
And wrapping things up here, Coach, you know, being able to sit up here with these guys and coaching the ones that you do at Highland. Obviously, you were a great player at Highland, and I think you said you've been on staff for 8 years, and before you took over at total, and then took over as head coach. Just talk about the pride that you have in being able to lead your alma mater.
First of all, I've got a great staff. I've got a great administration. I've got great kids. I can bring my own personal kids to work with me every day, and they think these guys hung the moon, you know. So, you know, just to be able to do that, and you know, I'm going to say this a lot, but I've been East Coast to West Coast playing football, you know, at Arkansas State. But man, just being at home and being with these guys and watching them grow up in the program that I got to grow up in, and it's just, you know, I get to go out there and lead it. And yeah, my name's on it, but I can't do it myself. You know, I've got great guys. I've got great support. Our fans are awesome. We've got facility upgrades. I mean, I can't say enough great things about where we're at. You know, what's going on in Highland right now, around, you know, other parts of the state as well. But I'm super excited, super glad, super thankful for the guys that I've got.
All right, guys. We really appreciate y'all making the trip down.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, up next, we've got the Star City Bulldogs, led by head coach Matt Garrett. And, Coach, I will go ahead and pass it over to you to introduce your players and give your opening statement.
Yep. Guys, we want to thank you guys for having us. This is an awesome event. Appreciate what y'all are doing for high school football in the state of Arkansas. You know, it's been a crazy month, but, you know, for us, we got 4 seniors here that mean the world to our program. Start over here with Chris Carter, offensive line, D lineman, senior Caleb Hampton, running back, defensive back, senior Jacob Booth, quarterback, linebacker, and then senior Eli Tucker. He's a fullback, defensive lineman for us. You know, starting out, I want to thank our administration at Star City. Our administration is second to none. They do everything in the world possibly to give our kids what they have. They may not give us what we want, but they're going to get us what we need, and they're awesome. Our admin at school, Mr. Lazim Wynne, our principal, he does a great job with anything that we ask. You know, this is going into my 5th year at Star City, and anything that we need as a program from the school side of it, he is rowing the boat trying to get those things done. But we've got about 42 kids in our program right now, senior high-wise, that have been working their tails off all summer, and we're excited about this season. Got 14 seniors that, you know, they're doing things the right way to lead us to where we want to get back to. But, you know, like I said, it's been a crazy month from June 25th to now. just trying to sink our teeth in and be where we're at every day to make each day better than it was the day before. So we're excited about a good year, pumped about getting started August 4th. But with that, I mean, that's where we're at.
As you said, you've been on staff, but you know, the third coach in 3 years now, and so, but I know that at least having some familiarity certainly helps the kids and the team and everything. What was kind of your, once you did take over officially as head coach, what was your immediate message to the team?
You know, I want to start off by thanking Chris Vereen, who's been influential in my coaching career, for bringing me to Star City. And then I want to thank Coach Norton as well. I mean, he did everything he can to elevate our program to the next step with facility upgrades, with, you know, relationships with the kids. And, you know, a lot of those guys, things they've done has been influential with me. But, you know, June 25th, when we got the text as a staff that we were going to go through that transition again, and just knowing that, you know, we're going through a change late in the summer to later in the day getting that job offer, it was a very awesome moment for myself, for my family. But, you know, like you said, you're on vacation and you get that, and you know next week when we get back, it's time to go to work, and that's what we've done. We've hit the ground running. We've gotten in with the staff. We've made some staff changes, but we've actually hired a guy last night to be a defensive line coach. But, you know, can't say enough about our seniors, can't say enough about our team. They've just, you know, got back to work and, you know, settled in.
Guys, starting from the right here, just want to kind of get some things from y'all. Y'all are the ones, as Coach kind of basically said, y'all stayed true and you've dealt with a lot. It's always hard going through coaching changes, but knowing that you're getting familiarity, as I said a second ago, and just having Coach Garrett now leading the team, how important is that to y'all?
It's very different from how we were with Coach Norton. And I respect Coach Norton. You know, I love the man. He did a really good job with us. He pushed us forward. He pushed us hard. He did everything he could. He did as much as he could. We respect him and we love him. But now that we have somebody that, you know, I love Heber, been with him for 4 years pretty much, been with him for my entire football program. I love the man. I think that this is going to be a new moment for Star City, and we are going to make a really good big push for us in the future.
I just want to say, yeah, Coach Norton, he really got me better as far as football. Got my, my want. He got my want up to play football. Coach Garrett, I mean, I've been with him since my junior high. He's been a really good coach to me, really pushed me, held me accountable, and he's really got me better over the past week. And yeah, he's just really gotten me better, and then having a familiar coach around it's real helpful.
Having a familiar coach around, like when I first moved back to Star City, he was one of the first coaches I've actually like talked to and got to know personal and stuff like that. And he's always texts me after practice and stuff like that, making sure that I'm comfortable with the position and the plays and how we're doing things at practice, and making sure I'm always like keeping up with the whole team and making sure we're in line. And it just helps out that you have a great head coach like that, just reaching out and making sure you have all the opportunities you need to be a better player and a better person in life.
Coach G is really he's really fired up. He's ready to go at all time. He has gotten the town fired up. He's gotten every kid at Star City fired up, ready to go on Friday night. He's the energy, he keeps the energy going great, and he's got a great attitude towards Star City.
And talking about the conference, we've had Monticello here to do some of the ones that have a lot of high hopes this year. Monticello, Hamburg, we've had a few of those teams here, and I know you guys had a really good start to last year. And then some things kind of fell off a little bit there once you got into conference play. So just talk about a little bit about the 4AA. Love to pick the brains here because everybody knows about Warren. Have the whole 21st century, and rightfully so. But talk a little bit just about that conference and the things that get turned around once you get into that slate.
Yep, I talked last week in Pine Bluff that, this is not my first stop in this conference. I've coached at DeWitt, Dumas, which used to be in it, but in Monticello both. It's the SEC of the 4A. It's the you better bring it every week. Those teams you just listed, we've got a lot of great football in our conference, and it doesn't matter what team it is. You have to be prepared each week. you know, one thing about us, I'm not going to talk wins and losses ever. And I don't believe you do that as a coach. But, you know, we're going to work on us every week. You know, starting with August 4th, we've got a motto, and it's DOG. We're going to be disciplined, we're going to be obedient, and we're going to play with a lot of grit. And we're going to get back to playing tough football. And, you know, we all believe in that wholeheartedly. And, you know, our conference, like I said, there's a lot of great coaches, there's a lot of great athletes, but, you know, we're going to worry about us each week. We're going to not worry about the name that's on that schedule. We're going to worry about what is going to happen each and every Friday night.
Obviously, since you've been around and knowing the team, like, yes, you probably see a lot of the same stuff, I would think, but as kids come and go and as, you know, different ideas from certain head coaches, will we see a whole lot, without giving away too much, will we see a whole lot different schematically, or are we probably doing a lot of the same things?
Defensively, we're gonna keep doing what we've been doing. You know, we've got a great defensive coordinator, a great defensive staff. You know, Justin Hamilton, I believe he's one of the best defensive minds in this state. You know, a younger mind, but he gets after it. Defensively, we're gonna keep doing the things we've been doing. We might make some tweaks here and there, just depending on, you know, game planning. But I think that's everybody. Offensively, again, Coach Norton did a great job with our offense last year, bringing that from Lone Oak. But you know, we're going to add in some tweaks. We'll do some different things, but you know, I'm not ready to say those things right now.
Yeah, no doubt. And you mentioned Dumas a second ago. That's your opening game. We always want to give respect to the benefit game. I know that's, you know, really crucial to get all your guys on the field. But starting off against the, you know, they had a rough start, had some injuries, and then really got going once we got to the postseason and everything. I know they've got a running back that's coming up. That's getting a lot of offers, so a lot of young talent. So I know that one's one that y'all are really looking forward to facing.
Yeah. So Dumas, you know, I can't give Coach Lovelady enough credit. You know, he's a great friend. He's always been good to me. But you know, I've lived in Dumas ever since I moved to Arkansas. You know, back from college, I moved to Arkansas. You know, my in-laws are from Dumas. Dumas is probably my second home, other than Fayetteville, where I grew up. And so I got a lot of respect there, a lot of great relationships. But you know, when we play them, it's full tilt. You know, we're worried about that. But we're going to prepare every day for that game. But like I said, Coach Lovelady's done a great job. They do have a lot of good players. They have a lot of great players. You know, Kent Brown, he's going to be a name a lot of people in Arkansas are going to be looking for the next few years. I actually coached his older brother, Caleb Small, and that dude was good. And it's just gone down from his younger brother, Kylan James, who just got done playing at UNLV, and Kent's is the next one. So we've got our work cut out for us.
To the players, what is two things that, you know, you guys have kind of looked at, whether after, you know, having some off-season meetings with your coaches or just some things that you knew you needed to work on? What's some things that y'all really focused on to try to better your craft through the off-season?
Well, I think most of the things that we try to work on more is, you know, looking at each other as a team and working together as a team instead of just trying to one person have more talent and show up and be in the spotlight, when we all really need to work together, work hard, work on our job, work on our position. You know, I don't think we're a bad team. I think we're a good team. We just got a little bit more tweaks and works to put in. All I know is the more hard work we put in, the better we'll be.
I think mainly holding on to the football is a real big key to winning games. Knowing the plays, having all our teammates know the plays. I mean, working hard, not really giving up. I mean, something bad happens, not giving up, just keep going throughout the game, and just to keep good energy out throughout the game.
One of the key factors that stuck out to me is like playing as a team and not being separate from each other, and make sure you know everything that you're doing on or off the field. If you're not playing, if you're sitting on the sideline, just make sure you know all the plays and know everything that you need to do to help and benefit the team and grow together.
Being a family with your teammates I think is a big part on Friday nights, playing together and stuff, and being a family with all your teammates is going to help that, and having a great work ethic is another big part of that.
All righty, guys. Well, we really appreciate y'all making the trip up.
Thank you, guys. Go down.
All right, here with Coach Newton and West Memphis Devils. Coach, just give us a brief rundown of last season. I know it was a disappointing season that's not up to your standards, but talk about more the expectations for this year, and then introduce the guys you brought with you.
Okay, last year finished 1-9, not to the standard that we want to play at West Memphis football. So much tradition and such high of a standard, but off season has went well. I'm not really big on putting goals on the season or how many wins we want to, where we are right now. But I think we're better. We'll continue to work and see where we progress from there. We have a really good returning group, and our junior highs were really successful last year. We have 2 junior highs. I think they had 15 wins combined, which is not normal. So really looking forward to the season and just get the sour taste out of our mouth and start to build it back to where it's supposed to be. I have with me wide receiver Jario Dooley, senior, defensive lineman Kobe Berto, offensive lineman Dallin Harris, and wide receiver Kevius Woods. All these guys are seniors, great leaders for us, had awesome off seasons. Kobe Berto has an offer to Arkansas Tech. Dallin Harris recently committed to Henderson State University, and both our wide receivers here they have Division II interests, and Kevius Woods also has an offer from North Alabama. So their leadership and what they've done, earns them the right to be able to come and be a part of something this magnitude.
Well, let's start right there with the offensive, defensive line. These 2 little dudes on either side of it that you brought with you. That's where it starts on both sides of the ball. So who's going to join them on the offensive line and on the defensive line?
Well, we returned 4 starters on the offensive line from last year. We finished the season with 1 senior. Dallin starts at offensive guard. We have a sophomore center in Kelby Stackhouse. Started as a freshman for us last year. He's dropped about 30 to 40 pounds, so he's right around 335, 330 pounds, moving better. Excited about just the way he's moving and the size and the strength that he brings. And we have him for 3 years, be a 4-year starter once he graduates. So very smart kid, football savvy, comes from a football family. So love him at center. Our left tackle, be a junior this year, started as a sophomore last year. Tony Gammon. Tony's 6'3", 6'4", 275 pounds. He's moving better. Like him being on the left side of our offensive line, just protect the quarterback on the blind side. Should be your best tackle playing out there. So just with his length and his ability, that adds some purpose. And we got 2 or 3 guys that are battling for that other guard spot. We got a 10th grade right tackle as well. So we have 2 seniors that have the potential to start an offensive line, but we have 3 underclassmen as well. So for the present and the future, we feel really good about our offensive line and what they bring.
And this to the players, there's a reason Coach decided to bring 4 of you guys. There's your seniors, your leaders. It's time to step up. Sounds like there's a lot of underclassmen that will be playing. So, we can start down here at the end, but just kind of, talk to us about each one of you guys and how you stepped into a senior leadership role and how you're going to be bringing the younger guys along and get them on board.
Okay, so it just kind of came like as a leader, you have to make sure that the younger guys are straight. I've always been told anything we do, the little guys see it. So in order for the little guys to be on the same mindset and be prepared like we are, we have to do and show them.
I really don't know what to say. Coach always told us, the underclassmen look at the seniors as like a big brother. That's how leadership come. They see what the seniors do. Then once we leave, they'll want to be a big brother to the underclassmen, as a senior. And basically a senior is basically the coach. What we do affects the team and in the future. So
Being a senior it's about your mentality. When you show the younger guys that you are motivated, you push them, you do what you're supposed to do, you just show them how to be a leader. It's all about leadership. Once you lead the team, you don't need the coaches no more. When you're on the field, you're on the field. Coaches are not on the field for you, so they're gonna see that and they're gonna respect it.
As a leader, you have to make sure that everybody is on the same page in practice. So making sure everybody echoes the call, making sure everybody either get reps, whether it's physical or mental, just making sure everybody's prepared so we can have a good day, have a good practice so we can carry on to the season.
Coach, you got to be proud about what each one of those young men just said just
Somebody's
now.
listening.
You have to be very proud about that. Talk about the defensive side of the ball too. Linebackers and secondary. What names are we going to be hearing on Friday nights?
Carell Miller is our middle linebacker. He was a junior. Carell, 6 foot, 215, runs 4.7 40. Body's changed a lot over the offseason. Just starting to see him mature into a young man of character, carrying himself better, and that leadership piece that you're asking the boys about. Saw him make strides this offseason. We run a 3-3 stack defense, so being able to put one of your better athletes at the Mike linebacker position, I think does us a lot of good. We have a battle going on in one of our linebacker spots with some younger guys. We'll assess that as we continue to go through the next 2 weeks of summer practicing as we enter in the fall camp. We have a kid in the name of Deion Stitwell that played defensive end for us the last 2 years, a sophomore, played sparingly as just a rotational guy. And he started for us last year at end, and he was about 225 last year. He's 205 right now. Has transitioned to linebacker. I like that him with his experience playing defensive end. We need to walk him down to be an extra edge player for us to get into a forefront. He's already been there. He's played in the trenches and understands what that looks like. So those two returners there, linebacker, just got to figure out that piece. We're going to be young and on the defense. We were very senior heavy last year on defense and didn't have a good year. So what we've done this summer, I feel really good about. We just got to continue to work and figure that piece out.
You think about some of the elite coaches at West Memphis, Grafton Moore, Lanny Dowks, Billy Elmore, which obviously I know you're extremely familiar with. Even too, you added a name in Gary Bohannon as your quarterbacks coach. It was a D1 quarterback, so that was big. But just the things the standards that Coach Moore and Dowks and Elmore set, what are some that you used in your coaching that you maybe learned from some of those guys?
Yeah, it's crazy because I sat down and talked to Grafton Moore for 2 hours yesterday. I think he went and got a haircut and come by the field house. I was doing some work in the office, and he just sat there and talked to me for 2 hours. And I spent 3 years as an assistant under Coach Elmore, so I was familiar with West Memphis when I was able to get the opportunity to come back to be the head football coach. This is also some hard shoes to fill. Coach Moore, I say this, we didn't have the year that we'd like to have last year and what West Memphis is accustomed to and where we wanted to be consistently, but I had a conversation with Coach Moore. He's like, my first year as a head coach, we won 4 games. And you looked at the team, and it looks like it's a very talented team. We won 4 football games. Coach Elmore's first year as a head football coach at West Memphis after he left Stuttgart, I think he won 3 games. You know what I mean? I think Lanny walked into a powerhouse when he got there. But jobs come open for a reason. And I've spent some time talking to Coach Elmore just for that mentorship piece, and you just got to put one day in front of the other. I work for Jamie Mitchell in North Little Rock, and I work for, Coach Elmore twice. And a lot of what I am as a head coach and how I do things, how I make decisions, how we practice, comes under the leadership of those guys. I say they have the blueprint. So, I brought my offensive line coach with me today, and we were talking on the way up here, and it's, you just see the kids are practicing faster, conditioning is better, executing better.
So I guess I learned some along the way. We'll see what the results look like when the season gets here. But I've just been really fortunate and blessed to have, in my young career as an assistant, to be able to spend time around. I mean, I was around Paul Cali when he at Bryant. Coach Buck James came into Bryant as I was getting ready to go to North Little Rock. Worked for Coach Jackson at CrossFit, who coached at the University of Missouri and different places. So I've been around some really, really good football coaches, and hopefully one day, I can be mentioned in the same sentence as those guys.
Coach, you got a really young quarterback, but you broke him in last year when he was extremely young. Talk about him and not only bringing him along, but he's a sophomore, but he's an experienced sophomore. But not only that, but just like Kyle Sutherland just said, you brought in a quarterback coach of Gary Bohannon, who's has all the experience of any quarterback could ever have. So talk about those two together and kind of what you're expecting this fall.
Well, it's been really good. I didn't know what I was going to get with Gary. And, he started coaching, and he told me when I hired him, Coach, he didn't know if he really wanted to coach. And I texted him over there and was like, hey, man, you're doing a really good job. And I know you say you didn't want to coach, but you're a natural. Like, he's, like, really, really good with not just the quarterbacks and, Andrew Clay Jr., Andrew Clay III, our sophomore quarterback, but I think he's good with all our kids and kind of cling to him and listen to him, and he has really good experience. So, he's going to have knowledge that comes along with that. But, being able to hire him with a group of young quarterbacks, and I have 3 sophomore quarterbacks and a junior, I've seen their strides over the summer. They've made strides that me coaching them, they wouldn't have made. So he's making a really big impact, and a lot of the ways that Gary was used in college, it kind of fits Andrew Clay, and we already started to implement use him as a dual threat quarterback. So Gary coming in, it helps because he's kind of playing in the role, according to the attributes that Gary had as a player as well. So, it's went really well, and, we're blessed and fortunate to be able to get somebody with the prestige that Gary brings in when he walks in the field house every day.
And this is to the players. I'd like to hear from all of y'all. We can start right down here. Just like Coach said, last season wasn't up to your standards, so I know all of you guys are ready to get back on that field. What's that one game or 2 or 3 that you're ready to get back on the field and play that game, whether it's a rival or whether it's just a team that's full of guys that that you have fun playing against?
Well, with the season that we had, we're looking to play everybody. So every game we gonna get hyped for. We gonna go out there, we gonna respect all opponents, we gonna execute, we gonna take coaching, we gonna use everything we got to beat the other team that's across from us. So all the conditioning we doing, all the early morning practices we had, we gonna use all of it, and we coming for everybody.
The teams that I'm looking forward most to seeing again is El Dorado, Little Rock Christian, and Hot Springs. Those are the teams that I really want to get hyped for, and Marion, because we got something to prove against them, and that's it.
I know Marion is a big rival against us, but I'm really looking forward to playing Benton again. They're a really good team, and once we play them and show our abilities, it'll show how good we are against a better team than us that won multiple championships or play better teams than us. So I'm really looking forward to playing Ben.
Little Rock Christian Academy. It's something about that sits with me that I want to beat them, but it's not going to take just me. It's going to take us as a team to beat who we want to beat. And the main thing about being who we want to be is about competing. You have to compete in order for success.
Competing, is that something that you hammer home onto them on a daily basis, Coach?
Most definitely.
All right.
Yep, that's part of our, focus, effort, be a good teammate, but you got to be competitive, you got to compete. They got to be a part of who we are and what we do, and I think that takes us a long way, and you see it. And they compete in the conditioning on a day-to-day basis. And then you talk about 10:30, my trainer's telling me, hey, wet bulb is, telling us to get off the field. So we're kind of getting done at 10:15. It's hot. They're getting after it. It's just the culture is so much different than last year, and they say it takes 18 months for you to see it, but our seniors have put us in a place where our culture it looks like what a program that I run, how I want it to look, you know, from a competitive standpoint and the way they approach practice every day.
Well, we appreciate you guys coming out. This is going to wrap up West Memphis Blue Devils football. Good luck to you guys for the rest of the season, and be careful going up.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having us.
Well, that will conclude day 2 of 2025 Big Miller Fall Media Days. I want to thank all the teams that came today. You can catch all of the action on either the Natural States Sports Network Facebook page or YouTube channel. Thank you again to First Community Bank, Athletic Field Service of Arkansas, Arkansas Select Volleyball, Matt Black, Allstate Insurance, American Pie Pizza, Fearless Friday, as well as all of the media that stopped by today. We will catch you in the morning. A properly graded field is not only important for player safety, but also the field's health, and no company in the state matches the exceptional service and dedication like our friends at Athletic Field Service of Arkansas in Sherwood. From servicing all types of natural grass athletic fields that includes aerating, top dressing, and phrase mowing to a variety of residential projects, Jeremy Rice and his crew have you covered. They also offer an extensive list of infield renovation services. Call Jeremy at 501-416-1218. That's 501-416-1218 for your free evaluation, and check them out on Facebook or see what they have to offer online by visiting afsofar.com. Athletic Field Service of Arkansas. We got the dirt on your infield.
It's not just a house, you know, it's a home, and it's part of the neighborhood and of course part of the community, and you want to build stuff that they'll take pride in.
Well, that's where they're making their memories.
Yeah, that's right.
That's where they're raising their families.
You know, without the bank getting us to that next step, we can't do it.
It's nice to be able to call someone at the bank and say, hey, you've worked with us for all these years. This is what we're thinking about doing. Can we pull the trigger on this today? Oh, my stars. It is just so much easier to bank